Welcome back to WRPL, the podcast where we talk about all the things we are watching, reading, playing, and listening to, just all things that we are consuming in our lives. My name is Ben.
And I'm Steve.
Today we're going to talk about video game movies. Movies that were adapted from a video game.
Correct.
With Uncharted and Sonic 2 and Super Mario Brothers movie coming out, we're getting some big names in the video game. Oh, Borderlands is coming soon. A whole plethora of things. And I know in our Arcane episode, we had like a 20-minute rant on Super Mario Brothers, which was great. So maybe some of you are going, oh my god, they're talking about video games again. But fuck you. There's a lot of video game movies out there, and they're great.
And
not great. Okay, I should say there's like 3 that are good. I don't know if there's one that's great.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right, but we have a few things that we've been consuming this week. Just a smattering of things. I'll start.
Great.
Okay. I watched The Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Ooh.
This was a movie I wanted to see in theaters. I really like Jessica Chastain in pretty much everything she does. I don't know if she's really screwed me over yet. I haven't seen the 355. She's in that, right? So I'm sure that's not very good. And last year was Andrew Garfield's year. He had so many releases, and even the stuff like this. And what's the one where he's like a big hotshot TikToker superstar?
Yeah, I remember watching
something like that.
Yeah, I remember watching the trailer and going, "This looks weird," but I like Andrew. I might check it out.
I hear it's not very good, but that plus Spider-Man plus Tick Tick Boom, and
he's just this guy find the time.
He's just had, well, I mean, I guess when you take 2 years of COVID lockdown and back catalog and then try to squeeze them all out in 1 year, it looks like you're having a banner year. But so I wanted to see this. I didn't get a chance to, and it's on HBO Max now. And so for those who don't know what this is, Tammy Faye Baker is a evangelist with her husband, Jim Baker. And they start kind of from nothing. They just both have a huge love for God, and they see what other pastors aren't doing and how they can do it better. And they really get a following. And their big thing was the pledge drive and getting their donors to maybe give a little more this time because times are tough for everyone. And we're having a baby, so if you could just double your pledge. And they justify it. It's like, well, these are all people we gotta live some way, and then we use the rest of the money to do good things, houses for pregnant teens and handicapped children. But then they're also trying to open up the first Christian water park. And if you watch Righteous Gemstones, there's a lot of similarities within it. But they are legit devout people. They don't seem like con men trying to screw over the little person. They just get a little lost in their way, and it all comes crashing down on them. Jim Baker goes to prison for money laundering, or not money laundering, for defrauding the congregation, and it shows her in her later years as well. It's a very typical rise and fall biography. You're not gonna come across anything new here. But I gotta say, the performances and the makeup are pretty great. Not as much for Andrew Garfield. I think his performance is good, but you can't put old age makeup on him and make him look 50.
Yeah.
He's just so youthful looking. And he has this... And I guess the real life guy has the voice as well. But he's doing a really good impression of him. And so it's a little hard to believe this as a real person. He seems like an SNL character more than anything else. But Jessica Chastain kills it in this movie. She's so good. She gets down the little mannerisms and the giggles of Tammy Faye perfectly. They put big, heavy cheek jowls on her and her heavy makeup, and she really sells it. And you feel for her. I mean, my major problem is, I'm not a religious person, so when I see these people doing good, but it's all because of the grace of God and stuff, it just makes me look at the characters like they're a bunch of crazy people, and it's hard for me to root for them.
Okay.
But they are genuinely good human beings. At least it's presented. Oh, and Jim Baker is rumored to be gay, and he had these liaisons with men, and he denied it the whole time. Both of these people are dead, I believe. I know Tammy Faye's dead. I got interrupted at the end when they were showing all that, like, this is Jerry Falwell, and this is what he's been up to. my roommate came in and started talking to me, so I missed all like I don't know if Jim Baker died. I'm assuming he did die in prison. It was a while ago. But yeah, I liked it. I give it a B minus. It's a perfectly serviceable movie with good acting, good makeup effects, and it's worth the watch.
Yeah, I after you told me, I think that you were planning on watching it. I don't think I knew what it was, and so I went and watched the trailer. And it was one of those trailers where you could tell like this is the movie that's going to try and be Oscar worthy, but not get nominated for anything except maybe her performance or something. Possibly, maybe. But the thing is, looking at least just from the trailer, I mean, in the movie, it might sell me. I might believe it more. But just seeing her, how they changed her face and everything was so jarring to me.
Yeah.
It didn't look like they did a good job,
No.
but that just might be because, like, if you look at the actual woman, it's like, oh no,
Yeah, she has a very strong jaw.
yeah. And she's like covered in like bronzer or something, right? She's a
Yeah,
very
she's just heavily makeup
yeah.
person. That's her look.
So she just looked ridiculous.
But it's a slow gradual escalation of her makeup. Like she looks like a normal human being in the beginning, but it gets more and more and more. So you grow into it and you get used to it as you watch.
Gotcha. But yeah, because of it just had that vibe of it's good, but it's not going to be great.
Yeah.
It kind of like put me off a bit, so I didn't jump into it.
And I've even heard that they wanted to put Andrew Garfield up for Best Actor in this, but they may like him more in Tick Tick Boom.
Sure.
And so maybe we don't push this one and we push that one. I think since this movie wasn't overly loved by critics, no one's really going to get anything for this.
Yeah.
But it's a shame. I think Jessica Chastain should be up for Best Actress. Probably wouldn't win it, but a lot of people get awards for it impersonating other people. And she does a very excellent job. So I think she at least deserves it.
There's movies that aren't great, well reviewed, but they still get an acting nomination because someone's just good in that movie, even though everyone knows like this is kind of it's either a weak year or it's like she deserved to be nominated, but we all know she's not going to win. So I can see that. Plus, Tick Tick Boom's great, so and Andrew's great in it, so I would put money on that one as well.
Yeah, and especially that one being a little more accessible since it's just on Netflix and anybody could really watch it. Whereas maybe not everybody has HBO now, and maybe by the time they have it, it's not even available. Whereas Tick Tick Boom, it will be on Netflix forever. Watch it.
Cool.
Yeah, what do you got?
I started a show on Netflix called Murderville, starring Will Arnett, and the basic premise of the show is each episode, there's 6. He gets a new partner, and the new partner is a guest star, essentially playing themselves. They'll come in and like, oh, I'm Kumail Nanjiani or I'm Marshawn Lynch, but they are detectives that just got hired. They're not actors per se, but they basically give them a crime to solve, but it's all pretty much improvised, and it's pretty funny. There's potential here. I don't want to say it's constantly laugh out loud, but it is fun watching Will Arnett kind of knowing where this beat's going to go and then just throwing them a curveball with either making them do something ridiculous or he'll put an earpiece in their head and make them say ridiculous stuff in the situation. But what's fun is as you're watching it, the case is relatively so simple. So basically, each episode they'll interview 3 suspects, and then at the end, it's up to the guest to figure out who did it. And
there is an actual
person every time. And you, as a viewer, you can figure out the clues and on who did it, and then at the end, sometimes they get it wrong, sometimes they get it right. But then the chief of police will come in, and she'll be like, "Oh, here's what you got right, or here's what you got wrong," and then you can. So it's like you can figure it out at home, but as you're figuring it out, you're just cracking up because of how ridiculous it is. And they're constantly breaking in the show. Like you don't see them. I mean, you see them laugh, and Will Arnett's kind of covering his mouth, trying to hold it together to keep it going. But it's a lot of fun. If you love improv comedy, I think it's a fun exercise. I don't know how much staying power it has because I can see this shtick getting old. If they did 5 seasons of just them solving these dumb cases, but I mean, you could do Murderville, the horror version. You could do Murderville
in a spaceship.
In a spaceship. So I'd like to see it as a anthology series, or I mean, because the show's called Murderville, I feel like it would have to people would have to die in the show. But some sort of improv uh, structured show I'm all for, and I think there is potential here to be something really, really fun and exciting.
Seems like a bit on Whose Line Is It Anyways? Just like one person knows the story, and then three others have to improv on them.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Like I said, 6 episodes. They're all half-hour piece, roughly. You'll breeze through it in a day if you really wanted to. And all the guests are real game, and some guests kind of surprise you with how funny they are, and some who you've seen in tons of comedies, you're like, okay, this person's gonna kill it, and they do. So it's great.
Yeah, that seems funny. It's on my queue, like so many other things.
Yeah, I mean, if it was a 12 episode season, I'd say watch it when you get a time. But because it's only 6 episodes, if this is the what would you call it? Like the promotional season, it's like, oh, if you like this show, here's a little taste of it, and then if we get a season 2, it'll be 10 or more episodes.
Sure,
3 hours and you're done.
Yeah, I really haven't watched a whole lot this week. I've been watching a ton of Seinfeld. I'm on season 5. Yeah, just plowing through it. Spare time, lunch breaks, just watching Seinfeld.
Who's your favorite character?
It's hard. Default, it's Elaine. Elaine's the best, but
you always lean towards the female character.
I don't know what it is, especially funny women. I've seen on trivia like, Mariska Hargitay auditioned for Elaine, and Megan Mullally auditioned for Elaine, and Elaine, and trying to think of like other actresses and how they would have taken the role, and it just wouldn't work. She just fits with Jerry so well, and George, and it's hard because George is really one of the best characters. He's kind of a scumbag, and I see a lot of myself in him. Not the scumbag stuff, but like
I see the scumbag stuff.
I see myself as being like a Jerry George hybrid, and that's not a good thing. You don't want to see yourself in those characters, but I bounce back and forth because sometimes Elaine's a little light in an episode, and then George is just the funniest, most erratic character. It's just Jerry and Kramer are the weakest. Kramer is great because he's Kramer. He's a classic goofy next door neighbor character. There's nothing I have any complaints with Kramer. It's just I've seen that sort of character in different interpretations before. So even though he does an excellent job, I'm not wowed, whereas I am wowed with the other two. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's not what I was going to talk about.
Watch Seinfeld.
Watch Seinfeld.
Been around for 30 years.
Yeah. And it's one of the shows I have to sit there with Google open because they just rattle off references to old movies, old shows, and it's just right over my head. I guess it's what it's like to be 12 years old watching Family Guy now, doing references to the 80s. So
I mean, Family Guy was making references to stuff in like the 50s and 60s.
Sure, absolutely. And
long before.
But at least I felt like I kind of got it.
Yeah.
Where some of these jokes, I'm just like, I don't get that at all. And it's funny to see how technology has changed, and they're talking about a two-way line phone in your own home. Like, what do you fucking do? It's not a big deal. Or the answering machine, which just doesn't exist. And there's so much smoking in the show. Like, Kramer's always smoking in Jerry's apartment, and they're on dates and smoking at a table, and it's just surprising to see. That was just a normal thing you can do on a show. If that character won't smoke, they just smoked. It wouldn't happen anymore. But speaking of Seinfeld, I saw Moonfall.
Good segue.
Yeah, there's nothing out this weekend. I guess there's Jackass 4, but wasn't quite feeling that one. I wanted to see it. I want to see it.
Oh, okay.
But our buddy Nick asked me, like, hey, you want to go see Moonfall? And I know nobody else would see that movie with me. So I had to take the opportunity. Because it was also on my list of most anticipated of 2022, but I knew going in it's bad. Like, I was excited for Scream, wasn't my cup of tea. This I knew was going to be a piece of shit. All Roland Emmerich movies are bad. I don't think he has really a good one. Maybe 2012 is his best one, maybe, but that's pretty bad.
I think Independence Day is his best one.
I don't like Independence Day.
Oh, really?
No, yeah, I used to.
Everyone else does. So.
When it came out, I was all about Independence Day. I thought it was so awesome. But by my third time seeing it in theaters, I was like, oh, I think this movie's kind of bad. It was one of the first times I felt I could have my own critical opinion because I was like, what, 13 when that came out? 94, right?
Would you say you found your independence
that day? Yes. uh, because before it was, when you're a kid, you like everything. And of course I liked Independence Day, but after a while, I was like, no, I don't like Independence Day. I'm going to be an individual thinker. It's fine. It's not a bad movie. It's just I don't care. But Roland Emmerich sucks. He's bad. He doesn't make good movies. Uh, and this is another one on the list. This is a bad movie with extremely bad acting, some pretty good special effects. Not anything you haven't seen.
So how much of the Earth has been destroyed by the end of this movie? Or all of...
Lots of it. Lots of the Earth. But you don't really see a lot of the big effects of what happens to people. More of just, hey, here's a city and here's a tidal wave coming. Oh, isn't it cool seeing all these asteroids or meteors hit the Earth? Or that's all cool, but it's very barren. You don't see people fleeing and screaming as much as, say, Independence Day. And then you don't get any sort of big readouts at the end of like, we lost Europe. It's completely on fire. It's just kind of, you see a lot of shots from space where we're just being pelted by stuff. But then when you cut to Earth, there are people standing there and there's like 100 meteorites just slamming into the mountains around them. And everybody's just kind of looking at it like, yep, that's cool. They're not screaming. They're not cowering. Everybody looks at the destruction like, yep, that is a green tennis ball on a green screen off camera. That's scary. Like, no one has any reactions. It's really pathetic. What do you want to know about Moonfall? I don't need to talk about all the details, but what do you think? Why is the moon coming to crash to Earth?
My guess is that secretly NASA developed a space station on the moon, and or maybe they were storing like nuclear weapons or something on there, and then there was a malfunction, or there's about to be, and so they're just like, the moon's gonna blow up in like 2 weeks unless we get there. Like, we're gonna send in our nuclear physics team or whatever. We're gonna go to the moon, and they're gonna shut down the thing. But oh, my bad, it still blows up, and the moon falls to Earth.
Okay.
And so it's just like, all right, more of now it's a mission of human survival, not of stopping this explosion or something.
No, not it.
Not even close.
The moon is a superstructure. It is not an actual moon. There's a dwarf white star in the center that has been captured and harnessed to create power, and it has like these gyroscopic rings around it, and it's inside this moon shell. And billion years ago, humans came from another planet, and we lived in peace, and we got to the like peak of civilization, and there was no war, there's no disease, and everything was perfect. But then we created AI, and then the AI thought for itself, and it almost looked like it's like the Alexas and stuff. They broke out, and then it's a bunch of nanobots, and they come together to be this big hive mind that's like, ooh, if humans and technology live together, that's bad news, so I gotta kill it. So it destroys all the humans on the planet, but we've lived off-world as well, and we were creating these superstructure moons to go across the galaxy to find other planets that could be seeded to extend humanity. So the bad nanobot bad guy destroys all of them, but one got away and found our planet and seeded it with life and let evolution take place. But then the people living inside the moon were like, but if it ever finds us, it's going to kill us and the people on Earth, so we need to kill ourselves. So the moon can just be its like own sort of perpetual motion machine, and the humans and machinery are separate now. And so even if the thing shows up, it's not going to kill the people. But the thing does show up and goes after the dwarf star in the moon because it's trying to break it down or something.
Wow. Yeah. I did not expect that.
Yeah.
That seems super convoluted.
It really is.
No real reason.
I think it's a fun concept of where humans came from, but it's just goofy as shit.
I guess my only other question is, I think, as we've said on the podcast before, I'm a huge fan of Patrick Wilson.
Uh-huh.
Is he any good in this?
No. No, you could
Because I feel like he can sell most shit he's in, whether it's good or bad.
I don't buy him in this. This really was a Gerard Butler movie. I know he did
Greenland.
Greenland's good, but what's the other one with the weather? Geostorm.
Yeah.
It's very much a Geostorm type movie, and every time Owen Wilson said anything, I was like, God, that would sound better with Gerard Butler. I know Gerard Butler's not a great actor, but I think he could sell this more. And Halle Berry is awful. She's laughably bad in this movie. Her reactions, it's like she's being filmed on a green screen in her own room and she was composited in with everybody else. She has like no chemistry with everyone. Her reactions are so off, bad. And all the children are just awful. Everyone in here is terrible except for Sam from Game of Thrones. He's fine, but he's the crazy person that believed the moon was a superstructure all this time, and everybody thought he was just a nut. And oh well, now he's got to come on the mission because he knows what's up. And they eventually like set off an EMP to kill the thing, but Sam from Game of Thrones is the one that sacrifices himself, and now he's like part of the moon construct. And
Jesus Christ.
one of the final lines is like, "You're part of the moon now, and we have work to do." And then like cut to black and credits play with rock guitar. That sounds like they expect a sequel. There's no way this movie's getting a sequel.
Oof.
But yeah, man, yeah, don't bother. It's stupid. But I kind of wish there was less people in the theaters because me and Nick would have had a really good time just being loud and obnoxious and cracking up. Because every line they say about the moon is something really ridiculous, and it's just like the moon's out for vengeance. You know, that's not a real line, but it's something that they would say.
Next, they'll say something like the moon controls the Earth's tides.
So it's bad. Yeah, you could skip Moonfall.
It's amazing that these movies still get made.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there is a market for it. People love destruction porn, but I just don't get it. They're roughly all the same. I think that there was a peak in the early 2000s where, you had some decent stuff.
Yeah. Special effects were getting around where you can do these things.
Yeah.
So they started doing them.
Not that they were necessarily great movies, but we hadn't seen them per se. And now I feel like we've seen 100 of these movies in the past 15 years. So I'm glad I didn't need you to confirm that it was bad and that I didn't need to see it, but it's good to know that I'm validated in my pre-existing assumptions.
Yes. That's all I got to say about that. So speaking of Moonfall,
I watched Ozark season 4, part 1.
Okay.
Did you finish it? Or did you even start it? Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to wait probably till part 2 happens.
Yeah. It's 7 episodes, so a couple episodes shorter than a normal season, but just as good. Julia Garner is great as Ruth. She has some pretty heavy scenes this season, dealing with the aftermath of losing her loved one. Spoiler alert for season 3. There's a rift in the family because of that murder. With
her dad, right?
No, Laura Linney's brother. She had him killed. And he was dating Ruth.
That's right.
Yeah. Because he was bipolar and was kind of being crazy and kind of telling people shit he shouldn't be saying and compromising the family. So she had him killed.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. Which he was phenomenal last season. He was great. And so there's all this moving pieces and dealing with the cartel, and it's crazy how calm Jason Bateman is at all times in the show. Even when people have guns put in him, like he might raise his voice a little bit, but I've never seen someone be so worried but so calm at the same time constantly. It doesn't seem like a fun role for him because we've seen Jason Bateman in Arrested Development and Horrible Bosses. Like, we know he can do comedy, and I know he can do serious stuff too, but he's never this unchanging visage. It's not like it's a bad performance at all. It's just weird to see a character so just plane.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's really great on the show, and it definitely sets up the pieces on, are they gonna finally be done with all this, or can they ever truly escape? What's going on with the kids? Is Ruth gonna make it out alive? And the hardest part about the show is watching this family who like so clearly care about each other and want everyone to succeed, but they will constantly undermine each other because it's like, I don't think you're doing the right thing. It's like, I don't think you're doing the right thing. But they don't talk to each other all the time about certain things. It's like, okay, well, I know she's going to do this, so I'm going to do this. So because this is the right thing to do. But by them doing separate things, it just makes it harder. So they have another thing to deal with. And it just drives me crazy that these people just don't like, and they even say on the show, it's like, we need to be a cohesive unit, and they refuse to be. And it's so frustrating to watch. It's almost not fun because it's just like, God, it's like, I get it. This is the kind of thing that's, no one wants to die and get murdered by the cartel. So it's just like, I'm going to protect my family the best way I know how. And everyone in this family has a particular set of skills that has gotten them out of situations before. But it's mostly by sheer luck. I mean, there's a lot of skill, and like when Marty and Laura Linney's character, I forget her name, work together, it's great. Like, they get shit done. But it's only after they keep fucking each other up that they go like, okay, I guess we finally need to work together. And it's just like, if you just did it from the beginning, this would have been one season show. But
you would have been president by now.
It's still got that blue tint to every episode, which I wish they aged out of. It's not that it's bad. It's just it constantly looks like the Ozarks is never really sunny, even though
it's cold there.
Yeah, it's just gloomy all the time, which I doubt it is, because it is a touristy area. I would think that it's bright and people want to get on boats and stuff.
I would think.
It's good. It's obviously coming off the backs of shows like Breaking Bad and everything, and I don't think it'll reach that heights. And once the show's over, I don't think it'll be remembered as fondly, but it is a really quality show. And I think, if you're a fan of these crime dramas, it's a very well done, well written show, with characters who, even though they are frustrating at times, you do root for. And especially Ruth is, the one she's the Jesse Pinkman to Jason Bateman's Mr. White, and you want to see her get out of it because, she carries herself as this redneck white trash girl, but she's the smartest person on the show and the most maybe not the smartest, but she's clever and gets stuff done and takes care of business. And she's, as being in such a tiny package, she's believably badass. Not like Hit Girl, where it's like she's so tiny and she is badass, but it's like,
there's no way you're knocking these dudes out.
There's no way you're knocking out a 400-pound muscle dude like punches. But I believe Julia Garner could pull a gun and just murder multiple people if she needed to.
Has she won for that role?
She did. For the last season, I believe she won her first award.
And I think last season she got like the least airtime compared to other seasons.
Maybe.
I mean, maybe it's 3. I don't know.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to the final season. I
too.
What?
Nope, gone.
Oh yeah, looking forward to part 2 of season 4.
Is it also going to be 7 episodes? Do you know?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. That'd be fun if they just released 3. We're like, there you go. Take the rest of it.
We're just releasing the final 3 episodes as like a big theater
release.
Theater release. Like, wait, what? No,
I'm not watching that.
No. So yeah, check out Ozark if you love crime and family drama and just all around good performances.
Cool.
Enjoyable stuff.
Yeah. I started a show. I'm not going to talk much about it until it's over, but I started Pam and Tommy.
Cool.
It's about Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee, and the whole ordeal with their sex tape getting released. And Seth Rogen is the guy who stole it from them, and Nick Offerman is the pornographer who goes in business with him to get it out onto the internet. I'm enjoying it so far. It feels like a super trashier version of American Crime Story. It's really well acted, especially on Lily James's behalf. She nails Pamela Anderson. Like, they did.
Lovely did that.
Ha ha! They do a fantastic job with the prosthetics and the makeup, and she gets all of her little voice ticks down. It's shocking that you're not actually watching the real Pamela Anderson. Sebastian Stan is pretty good as I was going to call him Tommy Lee Jones. Sebastian Stan's really good, but he's not as tall. He's not as gangly and scary looking. Tommy Lee has a really strong, scary face, and Sebastian Stan's got a nice boy face. So it's you can put all the greasy hair and tattoos you want, and he's not as threatening. But I think he does a pretty good job.
Did you watch The Dirt?
No. Oh. Is that about Motley Crue? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do not care about Motley Crue, any of the members, their music, so I was not interested in that.
Okay.
But I was, a young boy when this came out. Between, like 15 and 18 was the time when this came out. So, like, this has a special place in my heart as a young boy.
Like you were there.
I was there. So yeah, it's pretty trashy because there's a lot of nudity in it. And at first I thought, like, oh, this has got to be weird to look at these celebrities who are still alive and exist, and we're going to show them naked in something, but it's not their actual bodies. It's her in a prosthetic, suit. It's him with a prosthetic dick, and it's kind of gross feeling. If Pam and Tommy were dead, maybe it'd be okay, but I don't know. But with the fact that it is about a sex tape, and that was their things that they were known for the most, was like Pamela Anderson has really big breasts and Tommy Lee has a really huge penis.
Made for each other.
I think if people watch this show, and being like a Hulu exclusive, they'd be expecting to see nudity of some kind. So I feel like they have to do it, but they kind of go overboard. And spoilers for a funny bit, but I'm gonna say it anyways. But Tommy Lee talks to his dick, and it has its own voice, and it's like pee hole will make a sound. It'll move, and it's Jason Mantzoukas' penis. So
of course it is.
So it's like he's fallen in love with Pam Anderson. He's just like, hey, penis, this is the one. He's like, come on, man, we just got divorced. We gotta like go out there. We could bang Jenny McCarthy. We could, get this person. It's like, nah, man, Pamela Anderson's the one for me. And it's a weird little bit, but it made me realize there's a huge penis revolution on television right now.
Yeah, no.
We're seeing a lot more dicks than ever before with Euphoria. My roommate just got back from Jackass 4, and she was shocked how much dick and butthole you see in the movie. Like, not blurred, not barred out. Like, you straight up see everything. Up close shots of Steve-O's butthole waiting for him to fart, So we just have...
Can't wait for that one now.
So it's pretty great that we've kind of come to a point where it's like, look, we've seen so many butts and boobs. It's only fair. And most of these dicks are prosthetics anyways. It's not a lot of real dicks, especially on lead actors. If it's just a shower room scene of a fat old dude, yeah, they'll put a real dick there. But, how do you find someone who can look and act like Tommy Lee and support all the package as well? So it makes sense that they'd make it a prosthetic. But yeah, it's a dick revolution right now. And, good for them. It's about time.
It's about time men had their time in the sun.
Let us show our prosthetic penises off and not our real bodies.
So, but I'm not surprised that now that we've covered the whole female nudity gambit, and men has been the thing we don't do.
Yeah.
Penises are going to be... People are going to be so tired of penises so fast.
Yep.
Because penises aren't really fun to look at.
No, they're weird. They're bizarre.
I think there'll be a point where it's just like you see a lot of penises, and you're just going to be like, I don't care. Or it'll be, wait, is that the real thing, or is that a prosthetic? And that will be will they actually show or won't they show? And obviously there's some celebrities who are just like, I gotta see that thing. Because you're just I was going to say female fan or male fan, sure. And you're just like,
Michael Fassbender and Shane. Like, people saw that movie not because it's a good movie. They went to see Michael Fassbender's penis.
It's like, I have no desire to see Tom Cruise's penis, but if Tom Cruise came out and said, my penis is going to be in the next Mission Impossible, a lot of people are going to go see Mission Impossible.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so...
But yeah.
And Tommy Lee, the show. All right,
yeah,
cool.
It's only 3 episodes in. It's on Hulu. It's pretty fun so far. I mean, Tommy Lee is a huge prick. They make him to be a real big piece of shit to like the work people who are working on his house, just crazy demands. And but when he's with Pamela Anderson, they're very different. Like they get married within like 3 days of meeting each other, and then on the flight home, they're just kind of like, so what's your favorite movie? Do you have any siblings? Like they're getting to know each other after the fact. But even though they are kind of new to their relationship, they still seem to genuinely love each other and really care. And I'm sure we'll see the downfall later on. But him being such a prick to everybody else, it's nice to see like he does have genuine feelings for another human being and he's not just a complete asshole the whole time. Like she's watching The King and I, and you could tell on the look on his face is just like, this isn't my bag. But he plays along with her and lets her sing and dance around and because he does care. And that's nice to see.
Yeah. I mean, back to The Dirt. I did watch The Dirt and I don't really like that movie. Not because it's poorly made, it's just this idea of Motley Crue and like, oh, we were a hardcore rock band and we're like trashing hotel rooms and we're pure rock and roll, man. And it's like, oh, we live this wild and crazy life. It's like, yeah, it's fun to kind of hear about. Like, if they tell me that story, I'd be like, whoa, man, that's crazy. But like watching people do it, you're like, no, like no one in this band is a good person. Yeah. They're all pieces of shit. And they were all doing heroin till they were dying, or they were all beating women or whatever. Like, nothing about that movie was fun for me to watch because I like seeing good people succeed, not total pieces of shit go, oh, well, I have a reputation to uphold as a giant piece of shit, so I'm going to continue to be a giant piece of shit. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm glad that, once again, they didn't try and hide that. I don't think Motley Crue or their antics are something to be admired because it was just, oh, I'm famous, and I have money, I can get away with this.
And that's like the whole beginning. Like Seth Rogen is a carpenter working on his like sex dungeon with some other contractors, and he has to pay for the whole job like on his own credit card because he said he'd pay some money up front, but he hasn't done it. And then he's coming in like, oh no, let's put the bed over there. And they're like, well, the bed is like part of the floor. It's going to take days and it's going to take thousands of dollars to move it. And he's like, money's no object. Money's no object. Like, yeah, but you haven't given me anything yet. And then he's like, well, I think you guys are doing shitty jobs and you're fired. And he's just like a total shithead. And that's what makes him want to steal his safe, which has the sex tape in it. So, yeah, he's definitely a piece of shit, but not to Pam. And I was thinking about that, like, it's so weird that Pamela Anderson, sex goddess, her name's Pam. Like sex goddess Pam. Just doesn't sound right.
There's only like two great Pams in entertainment history. There's Pam from Anderson and then Pam from The Office. Yep. Two complete opposites of the spectrum.
Pam the cooking spray. That's about it. But it's like, yeah, everybody knows her as Pamela Anderson, but she introduces herself like, oh, I'm Pam. And it's just not a name for a sex symbol. It's a name for a mom. If you didn't use Karen, Pam would be the next one in line. But that's
it's 90s, man.
Yeah. I think it's taking place at 94 right now. So,
were you a fan of Baywatch growing up?
Not really. Okay. It was okay. I got two Baywatch stories real quick, and I think I've talked about one. Right. Went down to the beach for a friend's birthday, and they happened to be having a WCW event. But it was because they were doing that event so they can record it because they were going to be on an episode of Baywatch, which they were also recording someone's intro, like running down the beach for the intro theme for like a new character. So we got to watch that happen. So that was pretty cool. And then my neighbor, when I lived in Southern California, her brother was one of the guys on Baywatch.
Oh,
yeah.
Neat.
Yeah. Don't know his name. I mean, I could probably pick him out if you showed me the lineup, but it's not like he came to visit and I met him or anything. But it was just like, yeah, next door. Her brother's Baywatch dude. That's cool. So what else you got?
I watched on Amazon Prime a new animated show called The Legend of Ox Machina. For those who don't know, the show is based on the hit D&D campaign by Critical Role. That I think aired from like 2015 to 2017, where it's just a group of 7 friends sitting around a table rolling dice and going on this wacky fantasy adventure and cracking jokes. And then they took that and turned 300 plus hours of that campaign into a half-hour episode TV show. There's
Wait.
I mean, it's not
Okay.
sorry. The way as soon as I got done saying it, I realized I made it sound like the entire thing is one episode.
300 hours into 30 minutes. Every hour is 1 second.
So this the first two episodes are essentially a kind of prologue to what the show is. It introduces the characters. They fight a dragon. You get a sense of the world a little bit and kind of the tone of the show because it is very R-rated. Lots of violence. They curse. There's nudity. But if I was going to show you, like the first two episodes aren't the episode I would show you, because they are a little silly. Because I think they're like, all right, we need to establish it. It will be a little ridiculous at time, and here's examples of that. But then episode 3 on, because they've released an additional 3 since they've started, are great. I think the show is going to be a huge hit. And if you like Invincible, it's just like that. If you liked Arcane, it's sillier than Arcane. Arcane's very serious. This show is very silly at times, but if you love adult animated action pieces or you love fantasy, this I think will satisfy you in that regard. Their episode 4, I think you would love. There's some really cool horror elements to it. Basically, this whole first season is one of their earlier arcs in that campaign that has to do with them fighting a vampire and a necromancer, essentially, and taking back. And all these stories are connected to the characters' backstories and the relationships they develop. It's a lot of fun, and you don't need to know anything about Dungeons and Dragons to play. I mean, to enjoy the show. It doesn't do origin stories. It kind of just jumps right into these people already being a group. You get a little bit of their backstories as the story goes on, and maybe they'll do sort of origin episodes, but there are comic books that explain their origins, or you could just watch the show on YouTube. It's all free.
300 episodes.
Well,
it's hours of episodes.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Each episode's roughly 3 to 4 hours. And there's 115 episodes, I believe, the first season.
That's like 15 days worth of continuous watching.
I mean, over quarantine, I think it really helped the show gain even more fans because everyone had the free time to watch it. The Critical Role fandom is very, very strong and really helped launch Dungeons and Dragons in the past couple years into the mainstream.
And what is it on? Like, Critical Role is part of what company?
So it started on Geek and Sundry YouTube. I mean, they always live streamed on Twitch, and they still do that. But now they left Geek and Sundry. Now it's just the Critical Role. Like they have their own company. They like print their own books and have their own merch. Like they're their own entity now. But they still stream on Twitch and then simulcast, I think, on YouTube. And then on Monday on YouTube they have the whole edited episode for everyone. So you don't need to have a Twitch account or pay or whatever to watch it. You just have to wait a couple days and you get it free. But yeah, I mean, it's super popular and the show is really fun and you can tell they put in work. It was a Kickstarter show, actually. They wanted, I think, $750,000 to just make one episide. And then over the course of a month that they did it, they made over $11 million
Jesus!
From the fans. Yeah. It's the highest, I believe it's still the highest earning Kickstarter of all time. It was like 88,000 people chipped in to make the show happen. So
88,000 and they got to 11 million?
Yeah.
Those people are giving a lot.
Yeah.
Because even if it was $100, that's 8 million. So everyone's giving more than $100 if you averaged it.
I mean, plenty of people gave $20. But I think if you gave 1,000 or some crazy amount, you got to be executive producer on the show. They have a whole list at the end of the credits. But the score is really good. And one of the characters is a bard, and so he wrote it like on the live stream. He would do popular songs and sort of just make fantasy versions of those. But he actually wrote original songs because obviously he couldn't get the rights to the hundreds of songs that he kind of spoofed. Yeah, so we'll see where it goes. I think it has potential to be to be pretty big. It's been greenlit for a second season before the first season even aired. I think it could be a 5-season show, but they're on campaign 3 now, so they have a back catalog of a whole nother series essentially of the show before they can. Yeah, so they're doing really well, I think. And I would recommend it to you if you loved Invincible and Arcane. I think you would enjoy it. But I think the first episodes might not necessarily turn you off, but go like, I don't know about this. But episode 3, 4, you're like, okay, I see where the value in this.
You suggested it, and it was just kind of like, probably not. And then I get to work, and my buddy's like, oh, have you heard of this show? And I was like, well, now that he said it as well, do it. So, sorry, Steve, your recommendation alone is not enough for me.
I mean, I am a fan of Critical Role. I have seen a lot of their stuff. I don't think I have the capacity to sit in a seat and watch 4 hours straight of people playing this game. But I know the characters, I know references, I know like a lot of the big moments, and so there's tons of references to the game and little nods to stuff that either might come down the line or that they're not going to do, but clearly like, oh hey, remember this? Here's a little thing in the background, or here's a line from this episode that like is fucking awesome. Because all the people who are on Critical Role are professional voice actors who, really sell it, and that's what part of the reason why it's so the show is such a big hit, because it's people who are like putting 100% of their acting capacity into the role play aspect and to telling a story cohesively. It's really impressive to see, and essentially all done in just one guy's mind and with pieces of paper and dice. It's really impressive that it just started with friends around a table, and now it's a multi-million-dollar corporation that they're.
Just like this podcast one day. You're going to see the letters WRPL on the side of the building. I'm telling you.
Also, if anyone listening who wants to play Dungeons and Dragons with me, happy to do it.
Yeah, our microphone is on a Dungeons and Dragons book.
Monster manual.
Yeah, and a player.
True story. Anyway, if you feel like watching it afterwards, if you want, I don't care. I got nowhere to be. Do you have anything else before we?
I don't think so, because I started a book you've already brought up. Don't really have any thoughts on it quite yet.
I'd rather wait till you just get.
Yeah, when I'm done with that.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm.
Well, I have the perfect segue into our
main topic.
Our main topic.
Okay.
Before we get started on our main topic, I played a video game. Yes. I've been playing it for quite some time, which is rare for me because usually I beat a game in a weekend or a week tops. This game took me like a month or maybe 3 weeks. I played The Witcher 3.
Wild Hunt.
Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. And I had previously played this game a little bit 2 or 3 years ago. It was at the library that I was at that for some reason had video games, and I was like, oh, I've heard good things about this game. I'll pick it up. And I played it for a couple hours, and I just couldn't get into it. It's one of those games that's just so massive and tons of you can pick up every plant and anything laying around, and there just seemed to be so much, and I just had no desire to deal with all that. I love fantasy, but it's a big reason I avoided Skyrim, because if there's just too much to do and I can play for 100 hours, no desire to do it. Like I did it with Red Dead, but even playing Red Dead, I was kind of like, I'm just waiting for this to be over. This is just taking. I shouldn't play a game for this long. And there are some people like, well, I'm spending $60 on a game. Why wouldn't I want to play it for 100+ hours? But
I kind of do that as well, where it's like there's so much side stuff. I want to do it all because, wow, I like this game and there's more to play. But then the other half of me is just like, let me play the main story so I never have to touch this game again. Which is it's ridiculous. Like, I like this game. I should want to keep playing it. But it's like, no, just give me a nice narrative and let me do my thing and be done with it.
But it was $10 last month on the PlayStation Store for the complete edition. So it came with both DLCs that had been released for it. And I was talking to a guy I work with, and I was just, hey man, like, did you ever play The Witcher 3? He's like, oh yeah, Witcher 3 is great. It's like, you should play it for this reason, this reason, this reason. And I'm like, I don't know, like, I don't like this kind of stuff. And you're just like, dude, for $10, just get it, and then, whatever. And so I was like, okay. And I got it. And boy, was I wrong. This game's incredible.
Yeah.
It's phenomenally good. And I think part of the reason I like it more than when I played it before is I watched, The Witcher Season 1 and 2 Extinction.
You're more familiar with
the characters. It definitely helps, I think, if you played Witcher 1 and 2, which I believe were just PC games. but it was easy enough to follow, especially if you watch the show. The world is massive. I think it's one of the top 5 biggest open world maps in gaming.
Actual physically big.
Physically ginormous.
Okay, I thought you meant like the lore.
Well, the lore is pretty big too, but yeah, so there's essentially 5 or 6 maps you can go to, and each map is huge. But each area is different. Like, there's one area that's like a Viking sort of culture, and like it's just beautiful. Like it blows my mind that this shit fits on consoles or on discs or whatever. I don't and I don't think the game is, too, like with Red Dead, you beat half the game and you put in the next disc. I think The Witcher all fit on one disc. I could be wrong because I just got the digital download.
It's 12 discs.
But I think if it wasn't so big, you would love this game because you're a big fan of monsters, and this whole game is essentially just monster slaying. And each city you go to, there's tons of NPCs walking around and doing things, and as you walk by, they say stuff to you, and you can go into a ton of I mean, most buildings are, have locked doors or whatever, but I don't think I've ever played a game that just feels so rich and alive, and a world that I would love to, if it didn't have the monsters that were around every corner, that I would love to visit. Like, everything in it is so fantastic, and the combat's pretty fun. There isn't that counter move per se, like in the Arkham games, where you could really kind of cut through enemies, but at a certain point, you're just so strong, you're kind of cut through enemies or monsters anyway. But there's side missions that can take 10 minutes. There's side missions that can take 3 hours. Just because it's, okay, do this thing. Now you have to go back all the way across the map to talk to this guy. But after you get done talking to him, you have to go back to where you just were. It can be a little annoying, but as you play the game, there's plenty of fast travel points. So you can get around the map really quick if you wanted to. And the loading didn't take long at all. Okay. So luckily that helped. But sometimes it's just fun to kind of run around and explore and see, what kind of monsters you run into. And I can't imagine what the script was for this game. The amount of dialogue that these actors had to record for this is crazy. How much it is. And all the side quest stuff is actually like pretty fun and interesting. I didn't feel like I needed to go do the main story. It was a game that was really well balanced in terms of, if I felt like doing the main story, I could. If I felt like doing side quest, I could. And I was never bored. The inventory system, there was a lot of stuff I didn't do. Like, there was a lot of crafting, like you could craft bombs and oils and stuff to help you fight certain monsters. I never did any of that. No. I mean, I crafted armor and weapons to sort of level myself up. But when it came to just fighting monsters, you have everything you need to face them. I mean, if you're playing on hard mode, I played on easy, which normally I play on normal, but I just kind of I thought because this game was so long, I just wanted to breeze through it. So playing it on easy definitely helped, but it didn't really challenge me all that much. But I mean, I still died occasionally. But yeah, there's some real good story stuff in here, and real scary looking monsters, which I think you'd find really cool. You basically have like a force push and flamethrower hands, and like, I don't know, there's a lot of different playing options to this game, which makes it a lot of fun. And the story's solid. There's some epic kind of battles that happen towards the end that are really cool. Some time travel stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Mostly from Siri, because she's the goddess of space and time. And
she's a grown-up in this one, right?
She's a grown-up in this one, yeah. And the game has, I think, 3 to 5 different endings depending on like the option you choose. Because you kind of choose some dialogue options, and some choices you make actually affect the storyline. But yeah, it's really impressive that this thing exists, and it looks great. And in one of the DLCs, you essentially fight the devil. Not necessarily fight him, but you have to beat him in a battle of wits.
Battle of Gwent?
No. That's the other thing. It's like, Gwent seems so important in this game, but it's totally unnecessary. And almost every character you run into is like, all right, we can fight to the death. What, do you want to play Gwent first? It's like, I don't want to play Gwent, man.
So it's not fun? I heard Gwent was fun.
It is fun, but I definitely didn't have a full grasp on how to play properly. Because they gave you, I think, a tutorial in the beginning, and then I was just so like, oh, I want to get to the story, that I kind of forgot how to play. So I played maybe 5 times in the total 80 plus hours I played.
Okay.
Just because, I mean, there's side missions for Gwent, but I never felt.
It was the same with Red Dead. It's like, hey, you want to play some horseshoes? Like, no, I don't want to play fucking horseshoes. The control mechanics suck for horseshoes for one thing, but I don't want to play poker. I don't want to play darts. It's like, just leave me alone. Let me go shoot some people.
Yeah, I honestly just don't know. I mean, you could go to different merchants and buy more cards. It just always seemed like my opponents were able to constantly draw cards, and it was one of those games where you just can't draw cards. After your turn, you just keep playing until someone kind of like gives up on points. It's hard to explain. I won't get into it, but whatever. Gwent can be good. I just wasn't any good at it.
Okay.
So yeah, another one of those situations where if you love fantasy games, if you love big open worlds, fully lived in lore and rich characters and backstories, even stuff that you don't necessarily need to know that much about, but you kind of get in context as you play the game. Witcher 3 is one of the most impressive games I've ever played. Yeah, it's a marvel that we live in a time where this kind of shit exists. It's crazy. There is a ton, but it's a ton, I think, in just about the best way you can do it.
Okay, cool. Well, that sounds awesome. And speaking of video games turned into media, we're going to talk about some video game movies, the best, the worst, and everything in between. Video games have not had a good run when it comes to movies.
They have not.
We have 3 coming out this year, at least 3, minimum 3, with Uncharted in about 2 weeks, Sonic a couple weeks after that, or a couple months after that, and then Super Mario Brothers at the end of the year. And Sonic's going to do well. Whether it's good or not, I don't care about Sonic, but it'll make its money. Mario will probably also do pretty well regardless of quality just because it's Mario. Uncharted, though, is what I put on my list for it's going to be the biggest bomb of 2022. That nobody's going to like it. It may be serviceable, and it may not even be bad, but I think it has so much ill will already. Mm-hmm. People don't give a shit, and it is not going to make its money back. And they've already shown most of it in the trailers.
Yep.
So it's going to make maybe 60 million, you know?
Yeah, the only thing I think that keeps this movie in the light or going in any regards is the fact that it's coming off the heels of Spider-Man.
That's true.
And that is it. Because these kids are not coming out for Wahlberg. The adults aren't coming out for Wahlberg. No. I think the video game fans aren't coming out for the material. Like, Uncharted is one of my favorite video games of all time. Mm-hmm. That series. And there's nothing about this movie that makes me feel like it's Uncharted. And it's really upsetting because, like, besides The Last of Us, which thankfully is getting the HBO TV show treatment, Uncharted seemed the easiest thing to adapt. Like, yes, it's essentially an Indiana Jones ripoff, but it's modern day Indiana Jones, which could be fun, but you cast Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg for no reason. And
it's almost like they were like, we're going to be making these movies for the next 30 years. So by the time we get to the end, they'll eventually look like their characters. But no, you're not getting another one of these. You had your chance and you blew it.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't want to say that everything needs to be a television show because I do love movies. Yeah. But Uncharted might have worked better as a television show because it is sort of it's a globe-trotting adventure, and you can do multiple episodes of going to these places and run into different villains and explain different histories and stuff. And like, there's plenty of cool stuff in the games to adapt. And they're telling an original story, which is cool. I'm fine with that. I don't necessarily need to see a full adaptation of the game.
But they are adapting the game as well with like the airplane sequence.
Sure, they're taking the best action beats and turning it into this. But it seems like the studio got a hold of the property and they're like, everything people love about Uncharted? Well, we're going to put the studio version of Uncharted out. And like, the dialogue in the trailer doesn't look good. The casting choices don't look good.
You can even handle Tom Holland as, he's a younger Nathan Drake. But Mark Wahlberg as Sully, it's just a crime. Mark Wahlberg shouldn't be in anything, And get a George Clooney to be him or something. I think George Clooney would make a good Sully.
You can pull off, yeah.
Yeah. Thomas Jane, someone.
When was the last time George Clooney was in a movie?
I don't know. Yeah, they beefed it, and Mark Wahlberg's bad.
Man, it's like I almost want to see it just to hate watch it, but at the same time, I don't want to support it in any regards.
And
because I know it's not going to be good, and that's not from you just have a biased preconceived notion, so it's not what you want. So you just I can tell it's not good.
Yeah, and my buddy loved Warcraft. And when the movie came out, he never saw it. And it's like, what are you doing, dude? This is like your thing. Why aren't you seeing this movie? And so like, I just don't really care. It doesn't look all that good. And now I get it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a video game franchise that I love, and they're just not doing it justice. I think Warcraft looks much better and closer to maybe what that is than this. I mean, I guess this gets the beats right. It just has bad casting.
Yeah, I can't remember why I didn't see Warcraft, but I mean, it was directed by a director I like, and it's a fantasy property, and I think for the most part, it looked decent in terms of special effects quality for what they were trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was just like the reviews came out and it wasn't great, so I just never got around to seeing it. But it's something I wouldn't mind watching, but I don't expect it.
All the orc stuff is good. All the human stuff is laughable. Yeah. Even though it's like the cast is good, all the sets look real cheap.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to go from back to the beginning, to the very first video game movie.
The one that started it all.
All right, imagine it. It is May of 1993. How old are you, Steve?
I am 3 years old.
Wow. So were you like, "Will you please take me to the Mario Brothers? I want to see Princess Toadstool." Steve was born in England. He's only recently gotten his American accent.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it slips out. I mean, yeah. No, I don't even think I knew what a video game was at 3 years old. Can kids talk at 3? Oh, God, I'm going to be a parent soon.
Yeah, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, all right.
They'll be like, oh, 2. They're Tekken. Cool.
Here's a beer.
So, Super Mario Brothers movie, kind of a failure. It has a 24% Rotten Tomatoes. It only made $38 million worldwide.
38 worldwide?
38 worldwide, but that's in $93. So I bet that's like 87 million now, if you want to pull up a converter or something.
There's no way that's a $50 million. I think it didn't get released to a ton of places wide.
And also the creative team really wanted to make Blade Runner instead of Mario Brothers. They just had their own. No. They had their own take, and I don't know why Nintendo allowed this to go on. It is not a good adaptation of Super Mario.
Some would say it's the worst adaptation.
Maybe we'll see as we go through this.
Not the worst movie, but the worst adaptation.
Worst adaptation. Yeah, it's like you got the names, but you do not have the characters.
There's nothing about the Super Mario Brothers movie that is in any way like the Super Mario Brothers game, with the exception of Mario and Luigi.
Yep. And it's like, oh, this is a Goomba. It doesn't look like a Goomba, but we're calling it a Goomba, so that's close enough. Oh, this is Bowser. Well, he doesn't look like a dinosaur. He looks like just a weird man, but we'll de-evolve him into a dinosaur later, so it's okay. It's just all these tiny little references to placate fans. I love Super Mario Brothers. I think it's a good time. I think the casting is fantastic. Mario is Bob Hoskins, and
I don't care if Dennis Hopper is Bowser, but I like.
Yeah, Bob Hoskins is good. John Leguizamo is good. I even like Daisy. Can't think of her name right now. I was
just gonna say it's weird that there's movies I feel like John Leguizamo was in where you watch and you're like, damn, John Leguizamo's like real fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
And then after 98, maybe, I don't know.
After Spawn.
Like you never really saw him in anything good again, or if he wasn't something good, it was always a very small role to where he didn't really get to shine. Yeah. But I feel like there was a period where, I don't know, I watched Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet recently.
Oh, okay.
And like he's really good in that movie, I thought.
Yeah, he has some good stand-up, but things like we talked last week, The Pest, Spawn, To Wong Fu, thanks for everything, Julie Newmar. I mean, he's better in that than the other things.
He just did quite a few stinkers and never really got
Land of the Dead, yeah.
Yeah.
Drive. He's like barely even in Drive, but that was the very first video game movie, and it tanked, and people were like, "Ugh, we can't do this." But less than a year, or I'm sorry, a little over a year later, we had Double Dragon. This should have been an easy thing for them to adapt. Just two guys going down the street, beating up people, gangs.
And I feel like in the early 90s, like these sort of kung fu action movies were such an easy, they were all the rage. You had Ninja Turtles, you had Power Rangers, like teens fighting ninjas or whatever it was. Surf ninjas, like none of it was good stuff really per se, but it was the hit thing.
But this had like magical amulets, and it's been a long time since I've seen Double Dragon. Is this one that you've seen?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And this is one I have fond memories of, but I think it's one of those times where I saw it when I was 7 or 8. So it was like, oh, this movie's cool. And then I saw it when I was 12, and it was sort of the first time I go, okay, I can see something's not right here.
Yeah.
And as my tastes were getting more refined, and so Double Dragons had lost some of its luster. But it's one of those movies I do have a childhood fondness of, but it's not good.
No, and from what I remember, the martial arts are very Power Ranger-esque. Even though Jackie Chan was getting more popular in America around this time, there's nothing even close to the things he does. This is, I kick a guy, okay, reset. I kick this guy, okay, cut, reset. There's no skill.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one brother is actually a
martial artist,
a genuine martial artist, but then the other brother is Scott Wolf, who probably never did a kick in his life. It's just like, okay, we need one brother to actually know kung fu, and the other brother to be the pretty boy that brings in the team.
Sure.
It's been a while since I've seen it. I feel like I remember Alyssa Milano being super fucking hot in this movie, though.
Well, it is Alyssa Milano.
Like I think she had kind of a shaved head, and it was the first. Maybe it was a shaved head, or not like shaved bald, but really really short, like buzz cut or whatever. And I think it was like dyed blonde or green or something. I don't remember, but she had these like jeans that were really. I won't go into it. I just remember being a kid, going like, "Oh, it's about this chick." All right.
And then we have Patrick.
We always forget his name every time.
It's not Jason Patrick. It's not Patrick Wilson.
And he's on Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Now, Patrick Duffy.
Robert Patrick.
Patrick.
I don't know why it's so hard for us. But yeah, as the big villain. I don't have much to say about that.
Yeah, it's a perfectly 90s kung fu movie.
Sure.
Of that time. Does it hold up? No. Is it good? No. But if you grew up watching it, did you like it? Probably. Yeah.
So then just a little over a month later, we got Street Fighter. I forgot to say, Double Dragon only made $4 million.
Oof.
Yeah. 13% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Now, did you play the game?
Double Dragon?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just, side scroller, punch, kick, punch, kick. Very simplistic.
I don't think I ever really played the game. It was a little bit before my time.
It seems like an easy adaptation or Final Fight, any of the side-scrolling Streets of Rage type games. You have it like now you would make it like the Raid, where it's just a non-stop. I have to go down this street to get to the end of the building where the bad guy is, who has my girlfriend or whatever the thing is, and it would just be action beat after action beat. They wanted to put magical ambulance and
I mean it's a franchise that I think they wouldn't make another movie of unless you could do two routes. You could go animated. I think you could pull off
which there was a cartoon, a Double Dragon cartoon,
which I think you do something like what Netflix did with Masters of the Universe. You could do a Dragon show, or the only way that they would make another movie is if they did a revamped game that was a hit.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, well, we'll do the movie version of this. Because I think you could do I don't remember the storyline or if there was one really with the Double Dragons video game, but I think you could do, like you said, a raid style kung fu movie, call it Double Dragon. And but once again, that was a big 80s property, early 90s property for kids at that time. So you just throw Double Dragons on, people aren't gonna be excited for it.
Yeah, and that title is kind of stupid sounding. It sounds like the movie within a movie. Double Dragon just it's dated.
Yeah.
All right, so month after that, this was a Christmas release,
Ooh.
December 23rd. Our third video game movie, Street Fighter.
Never saw it.
Everybody rushing with the holiday spirit to go see Street Fighter. This is another one I saw in theaters. I was very excited. I was 13 when this came out. I also love this movie. It's dumb, but they cram as many characters as possible, and it doesn't matter if they got their ethnicities right or their backgrounds right. And I think they leave out one character. If you look at all the characters up to Street Fighter Turbo Championship Edition, when they added Cammy and Thunderhawk, and it's just Fei Long. I think that's his name. They don't have Fei Long in it because he was too close to a Bruce Lee ripoff that they couldn't do it, so they put like Captain Tanaka or something like that, and he's the stand-in. But you get every character, even the weird Brazilian Monster Man Blanca, even though how he becomes the Monster Man is ridiculous. You get Dalsim with his chains on his hands. He doesn't do any of the stretching stuff, but they put their winning poses and some of their special moves, and it's just real tongue-in-cheek and a whole lot of fun, and I really enjoy Street Fighter.
Who's the guy who played like the main villain? Do you remember his name?
Yeah, Raul Julia.
Yeah, I heard he was great in that movie.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. He's just having a ball. He's not in Bison as I know, because when you watch, even when you play the game, he's really evil and mean-looking, and Raul Julia is just kind of like having a good time and and being silly. But yeah, he does a great job.
Okay.
So then, less than a year after that, Mortal Kombat. Oh, I'm sorry. Street Fighter made 99 million. It has a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's pretty good.
It is, especially in 94 money.
Yeah.
So Mortal Kombat came out in August of 1995. It made 124 million. Has a 22. God, I cannot read. Can't talk. Can't read. Can't do anything.
You should host the podcast.
Has a 44% on Rotten Tomatoes, which of all these on here, that's pretty good.
44 is pretty good.
So this was August of 95. I was 14. Heyday Mortal Kombat. Like I'm saving my lunch money. I'm in junior high and I'm not eating lunch, so I can walk home and use my lunch money to play Mortal Kombat 2 in the 7-Eleven on my way home. I'd save my money so I could get like a Slurpee or the newly introduced Flamin' Hot Cheetos, and then play a couple games of Mortal Kombat. I had a little cheat sheet that I got from a magazine in a grocery store that had all the fatalities and special moves, so I'd be able to like roll up and tell everybody how to do their fatalities, and I was the cool kid because we got to see fatalities because of me, because you weren't going to figure them out on your own. So yeah, I would get home so late sometimes because we would just have good matches and extra money, and someone would ask their mom for $10 and give us all quarters, and we just play Mortal Kombat 2 all day.
And to be a arcade owner at that time, I just imagine you were printing money essentially.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it was a market that you couldn't sustain for very long, but for those like 10 years that arcades and those kind of games were the thing, man, I bet you were making just hand over fist cash.
Oh yeah, for sure. Do you like Mortal Kombat?
Mortal Kombat. Well, Tekken was always my fighting game when I was a kid, because essentially PlayStation 1 was my first system, or Sega, then PlayStation 1. And so Tekken was the first fighting game I ever really got into. Mortal Kombat was always that game that was always at some other kid's house, or that kid whose parents like let them like watch horror movies or something, because Mortal Kombat was a little bit more violent than Tekken. So I never really got into Mortal Kombat or fighting games too much, especially the very first Mortal Kombat. I didn't really care about.
I didn't have a Sega, so I didn't get the one that had blood version. The Super Nintendo didn't have blood. It only had like spit coming out, and the fatalities were nerfed. But on the Sega one, if you put in the code ABACABBA, you got the blood version. And my friend had Sega, but I hated Sega because you only had 3 buttons on your controller. You had A, B, and C. How are you supposed to play a game that has like 6 buttons for your highs and lows, punches and kicks and stuff like that, with only 3 buttons? Anyway, that's fine.
Yeah, Sega was never a system I loved, but I think it does have one of the best intros with the Sega.
Sure,
I don't know,
sure.
just something about it. It's simple, but it
Yeah.
works. Yeah. But going to the movie Mortal Kombat, this is another one where I probably watched it for the first time when I was 8, 10 years old and thought, like, oh, this is cool because it was sort of not super violent. Like it wasn't particularly bloody, but it's the first time that I've seen something with sort of scarier images.
Sure.
What was his name? Goro. He was a big scary monster man, and
really impressive animatronic.
The one dude was like sucking souls out of people's bodies,
Shang Tsung.
and you had Scorpion taking off his face, and not like there's some kind of whether it looks good or bad is not the point. The point is just like being a kid seeing this is like, oh, this is like an adult movie almost. But watching it now, it once again doesn't hold up.
Yeah, it's a little cheap looking, but I'd say compared to
kind of stiff acting.
Yeah, but compared to other Paul W.S. Anderson movies, this is one of his better ones.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he sucks.
I mean, it's not unwatchable. It's fun, and especially from a nostalgia point, it's fun.
Yeah.
But it's once again another miss in terms of let's make a good adaptation.
But of what we've seen so far, closer to the real story. Whereas like with Street Fighter, M. Bison doesn't have a tournament that he's fighting. He's trying to become his own government, and so they're getting world leaders or people from around the world to try to stop him. It's like, well, it was more about a Street Fighter tournament or people getting their revenge, and they molded it into a story that is something else. With Mortal Kombat, yep, tournament happens every 10 years or 50 years or 100 years, however it is, and Outworld gonna come and take Earthrealm, and it's a pretty basic story, and they adhere to it pretty well. There's a really good making of. There's a YouTube channel called Good Bad Flicks. He does a lot of deep dives into random movies, and he has like a 45-minute one on Mortal Kombat. It's really interesting on like just them talking about like the music they wanted, and like the studio was trying to get like Whitney Houston music, and they were like, what the fuck are you talking about? And okay, well, let's use this, and it's okay, this is kind of house music, you're closer to it, but then they would pull some random thing from the 70s, and it's like, why are you trying to put Whitney Houston music in a Mortal Kombat thing? And then they eventually found that sort of pumping rockin' techno beat.
That's another thing. The music of the Mortal Kombat films is definitely of that time, because I haven't heard that kind of music in a film since the 90s.
Yeah, it's like Blade was one of the last big movies I had or something like that. Yeah, but when you still hear it, it gets me going. Yeah, I'm pumped when I hear the Mortal Kombat.
It's almost jarring because it's just like, this is the musical choice you had, but it still really does fit.
It works.
Yeah.
2 years later, we got the sequel, Mortal Kombat Annihilation. This only made $51 million.
Still too much money.
Still a lot of money, but the budget was like twice the size of the original Mortal Kombat, and it looks so much worse. It's so cheap looking. This only has a 2% on Rotten Tomatoes.
2%.
2%. Probably the lowest on here. But I love Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I've seen it more than Mortal Kombat. It's terrible. Absolute shit. They kill off one of the main characters, which I think is pretty bold of them to do. But they just kind of butcher everything and retcon things, and then you get really ugly CGI, bad line ratings. It's an absolute mess, but I love it. It's great.
No, hard pass for me.
Okay. Then... 2 years after that, we get Wing Commander.
Don't know what that is. Never seen it.
I hate Wing Commander. It was a Sega CD game, and I'm pretty sure Mark Hamill was in it. And it's just a starfighter game, and you're fighting weird cat aliens. This was my number one worst movie of all time for many years.
Really?
Yeah, I saw this in theaters, saw it for my buddy's birthday, but we mainly only saw it because we knew Star Wars Phantom Menace trailer was going to play before it. Movies made money back in the day. It was like, you want to see the Phantom Menace trailer? There's the internet to go onto. You're going to have to go see fucking Wing Commander. And when we went, there was a dude, the only other person in the theater, and he's talking to us, and he's just like, yeah, I've paid for this 3 times now. And he after the trailer's done, he gets up and leaves. He like paid for the movie just to watch the trailer.
That's wild.
Yeah, but we were jazzed for Phantom Menace. That trailer blew our minds. Little did we know. I mean, hey, I love Phantom Menace for like 3 years after it came out. I think it wasn't until after Attack of the Clones I really could look back on Phantom Menace and go, oh shit, these aren't very good. God damn it. And I just had like rose-colored glasses because it was Star Wars. But yeah, don't watch Wing Commander. It's crap. Matthew Lillard and Matthew Lillard and another horror Scooby-Doo alum,
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Freddie Prinze Jr. They're in it. Bad, but I would totally watch it again to see if it still holds up to be.
Maybe for our next Make Me Watch.
Oh, I can make you watch Wing Commander.
Yeah.
Make us both watch. I might own it. I think I picked it up at like a Walmart $5 thing. After that, it was another like 2 years. We got Lara Croft Tomb Raider. This movie was a pretty big hit, $274 million.
274?
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, it made money. And mainly because it had a very sexy poster of Angelina Jolie and drew everybody in.
Peak Jolie around that time, I guess.
Yeah, but not a good movie. It's not even really all that fun or clever or interesting. It just is.
I want to say I've seen it, but I don't think I have. I think I've just seen so many parts of it that like, I did see that movie, but I couldn't tell you what that movie was about other than she raiding tombs.
I think there's one part where, okay, what's his face from Game of Thrones who's in love with Daenerys?
Ian Glenn is the actor's
Yes.
name.
He's like the main villain, and his sidekick is like Daniel Craig. And it's just weird. It's like, no, Daniel Craig's the star. He's the big person. I'm like, nope. This guy, I think. Maybe I'm getting Resident Evil mixed up. I'm pretty sure he's in...
So you're right.
Okay, I think he's in both. But speaking of Resident Evil, that's what came out next. A year later, Resident Evil has a 36% on Rotten Tomatoes. It made almost $103 million. It was a pretty big hit. I'm not a fan. I love the Resident Evil games, or at least I did back in the day, so I was very excited for this. And this is not Resident Evil that you know. Sure, there's a licker, there's a dog, there's a crow, there's some zombies, but none of the characters really are who they are. And Mila Jovovich is not the greatest actor, and probably only in this role because her husband directed it. And I don't blame either of them for doing it. Get that money, whatever. But it does kind of tarnish your series if your wife can't, like, I can't remember who did it. I think it was Red Letter Media. They were talking about how take any shot of Mila Jovovich at any point and try to figure out what her motivation is or what was just told to her. Every scene they cut to her, she's a blank slate. You don't know if her child just died or she won the lottery. Everything is just like, huh? And it's pretty funny to see. So I don't want to talk about every Resident Evil movie because there's 7 of them. So let's just say
it's impressive that of all the video games, because it's not like, at least nowadays I hear so many people go like, oh man, you played like the most recent Resident Evil. Like obviously it still makes money, but to me Resident Evil's never been that franchise that's been like one of the must play franchises, but for whatever reason has the most movies of any other
7 of them. Yeah. And they're all bad, except for... Okay, no, they're all bad, but 3 is the best one. 3 is the most competent
Extinction,
one.
Right? The one in the desert?
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's Extinction.
And I lived in Vegas when that one came out. And so it was funny when they're doing like this huge shot of like zooming into Vegas. And it's just the strip. It's just like 8 casinos. And then everything else is just desert. And like Vegas really, the strip is at the bottom of the bowl and everything else out, it rises up. So if you zoom out from the strip, there's a ton you can see that would be higher elevation wise than the strip.
Vegas is a bowl?
Yeah, it's a huge bowl. Everything goes, the strip's in the middle. So if it rains heavily, the strip is flooded. Their sewer system, if it rains for an hour, their sewer system backs up and it's flooding everywhere because it's like, well, we don't have to prepare for it because it rarely ever happens. So we can just kind of deal with it. It's awful when it rains. And then obviously nobody knows how to drive in the rain. So they're all bumping into each other. It's bad, but it's funny.
What? We're getting off track here a little bit. So how do the casinos do anything to keep the flow, or does the floor just flood?
The floors can get wet, and then they have to like suck it up and clean it up and move on.
I mean, I'm sure they have the money for it. Just seems like if you're this classy establishment that has all these high rollers coming in, and it's just like, oh, sorry, our floor smells like sewage water because it rained. That just seems a little surprising. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. So after Resident Evil, Lara Croft 2, worse, bad movie. She fights a giant robot, I think. I don't know.
Ooh.
Bad. After that is House of the Dead. Uwe Boll's House of the Dead.
Never saw it.
Oh my god. It made $13 million. It is terrible. It's got a 3% on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, this is one of the first ones that actually use footage from the game within the movie. It would just like transition from one scene to another, and it would just cut to the game of like the light guns shooting zombies, and then it had nothing to do with anything. It's just like we don't know how to stitch these two scenes together. No,
this is our Star Wars wipe.
Yeah, pretty much. It's trash. There's a whole like 15-minute scene of everyone trying to do like really cheap fake bullet time at the end.
It's a video game adaptation.
Yeah, it's one of the light gun shooters. Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Then another Resident Evil Apocalypse. Alone in the Dark. Another Uwe Boll. Really bad. Christian Slater. What's her name? Tara Reid. So you know the quality right there is just awful. Yeah, very bad. Then we got Doom, which is a perfectly serviceable
2006 era.
2005, October 2005.
It's close.
It only made $55 million with an 18%.
Before The Rock was The Rock.
Yeah, he's the joke everybody says he's the Pebble because he's so much smaller than he is now.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
isn't it weird that even when he was small, he was still bigger than
everyone. But like Carl Urban is going toe to toe with him in a fist fight, and then they're doing like suplexes to each other. And no, I like Carl Urban. I bet you could beat up many people. The Rock, I doubt, is one of them.
So it was like Scorpion King, Walking Tall, Doom, and then the game plan, and then it was just
Tooth Fairy, Escape to Witch Mountain. This is his. I think his like second or third role behind Scorpion King, and I think his first role was a Star Trek episode where he was like a gladiator, an alien gladiator. But I like Doom, but it's a little long, and you're really kind of just waiting for the big first person scene.
You were playing the Doom games?
Yeah, me and my buddy, we would go to Target when Target opened up next to my house, and we'd like walk the toy sections every day. We had nothing to do, so let's walk around Target. And they had computers set up with Doom, and we would sit back there and either play Sonic and Knuckles or Doom. And I wasn't very good at it because I'm not a first-person shooter guy, even back then. But it was like, oh man, you see all this pixelated blood? That's so cool. Oh, look at this chainsaw that this guy has for a hand. That's so cool.
I never played any of the Dooms because that was, once again, before my time. Until the new Doom came out. I think that was 2016, but I didn't play it till 2020. And honestly, I'm not a big fan of first-person shooters, but the Doom 2016 is fucking awesome.
I hear it's really fun.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it.
I hear the sequel's not as good.
I tried playing the sequel. The sequel is significantly harder, and it also looks different. I think they were going for a different aesthetic. It's still essentially the same sort of combat and everything, but definitely not as fun. So I played for a couple hours. I was like, yeah, this isn't for me.
Okay.
So yeah, the first one, great. Second one, don't care about.
Our next movie is Bloodrayne, another Uwe Boll movie. We watched the third one together.
I was gonna say I have seen a Bloodrayne movie.
Yeah,
which one was it?
It was the third one. I got it on a pack of like 20 vampire movies to die for, and I don't know why they just had 3.
I hate you.
Yeah, I love them, but this one I have not seen, so I just know it's Sean Loken and Uwe Boll.
Okay,
yeah. Then, same year, a couple months later, in my opinion, the best video game movie of all time, Silent Hill.
Okay.
Silent Hill is beautiful. It looks just like the game. They do a gender swap with the character and kind of mash some stories together, but it really gets the feel of the game and the camera movements, walking with a lighter as your only source of light.
I think
crazy monsters. It's really fun.
I think you may have made me watch the first Silent Hill with you, but I don't remember what happens in it. Or maybe you just made me watch the ending or something.
When Pyramid Head comes in and rips that woman's skin off, and then a bed comes out of the floor and razor wire starts killing everybody.
Oh, maybe I didn't.
Or maybe you saw the sequel where Carrie Ann Moss turns into a weird razor-faced Cenobite monster and kills Jon Snow, or tries to kill Jon Snow.
I did see that one in the theater with you.
That's a bad one.
Yeah, no, I remember seeing that one.
Okay.
I'm. What's the one where it ends where she goes back to like her house and it's foggy and I think the dark and like they're looking through a window or something and it's like
I'm
the timelines
I'm
are
pretty sure that's one.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that part,
Hmm.
which makes me think I saw the whole movie, but I don't remember where, or when, or what context. So never mind.
Yeah. But
Because
it
again, I never really cared about. I never played Silent Hill, so I didn't care about the movies.
and half the games are garbage, so I understand why anybody would not play them. But it is a good creepy movie with nice effects, great aesthetic, genuine creepiness.
Okay.
Yeah. And then after that, we got DOA, Dead or Alive.
Nope.
Another fighting game turned into a movie, which I know I saw, and it has Jamie Presley in it and Eric Roberts. So you know it's quality. Um, but I do not remember. It's really silly. It almost seems like a live action remake of some crazy anime like One Piece or something.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the feel I get. Then we got another Resident Evil. Then we got Postal, another Uwe Boll movie. I know you haven't seen that, right?
No. Uwe Boll, I feel like walked so other filmmakers. Or no, I'm sorry, he crawled so other filmmakers could run with
Yes.
the video game franchises.
Yeah, he has a bunch of them on here.
He's like, these things have potential, but wasn't good enough to do them.
Yeah. Then we got Hitman. Wasn't very good.
Timothy Olyphant.
Yeah.
Never saw it.
Yes. In the Name of the King, a Dungeon Siege tale. Another Uwe Boll. And Matthew Lillard's in this one.
I think
this one actually has like a pretty good cast. It's like Ron Perlman and Lily Sobieski, Matthew Lillard, Jason Statham.
I believe this was around the time I was 16, just started the theater.
2008.
Oh, this was 2008? Okay, so I was there for a couple of years. It's been so long, it feels like these are the movies that started when I was there. But okay.
Mhm.
I remember the posters for both those movies, and I remember the trailer for Hitman. But I did not see them.
Yeah.
No appeal to me.
Then we got Far Cry, another Uwe Boll movie. Didn't see it. Can't believe like he got a Far Cry movie.
The German guy from Inglourious Basterds, right? Wasn't he the?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. I never saw that.
Then we got Max Payne with Mark Wahlberg. Terrible, not good. Then after that, Street Fighter, The Legend of Chun-Li.
Ooh, I remember just hearing nothing but the absolute worst things about this movie.
Yeah, this movie came out during the writer's strike.
Chris Klein,
Kristen
Crook, yeah, who was childhood crush from Smallville days, but I can tell that she was bad.
Neil McDonough is in Bison, and
I like Neil McDonough though.
Yeah, he because he tries. He no matter what the subject is, he gives it his all.
Shout out Neil McDonough.
And then Ving Rhames, I believe, was Balrog, the guy, the big Street Fighter, the big boxing guy. But the craziest casting for me was they got what's his name, Taboo from the Black Eyed Peas to be Vega, the sexy narcissistic Spaniard. And so then they get this guy from the Black Eyed Peas who is not a handsome dude, and he just wears like a black sweatshirt and black sweatpants with the mask and the claw. It's so cheap. It's so stupid. And Chris Klein is a garbage actor, and this is one of his worst. He's laughable. Is there because when you say someone's chewing the scenery, that can be good or bad. I usually attune it to good. Mm-hmm. Like they're going all out and just having a good old time. But is there like a really negative version of chewing the scenery? That's what he's doing.
Yeah, it's like almost say the same thing about a scene stealer. It's typically attributed to good. It's just like they're just every scene that they're in, they're just drawing you into their acting. But then there's scene stealers where it's just like they're just stealing all the life and energy out of the room, and it's just not fun to watch. It's just a fucking train wreck. I don't know what the equivalent to that would be. But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, this movie came out the same year that Dragon Ball Evolution came out. Both that and like X-Men Origins, Wolverine, all like writer strike movies.
2009, not a good time.
Yeah, but I had to see both of those. I had to see, even though you know me, I hate Dragon Ball. I had to see it because I knew I wanted to make fun of it so bad, and I can't make fun of it without seeing it. So I saw both.
I could be wrong, but that might have been the first movie Nick and I saw together. I don't know if he started in.
No, because I was living in Vegas at that time, and he came to work.
Who did I see it with?
I don't know.
I don't know. I can't remember why I saw it, but I think it was just one of those things where it's like, yeah, I know this is bad, but we got to see the Dragon Ball movie.
Yeah, it was probably Thomas. I bet it was Thomas.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, because Nick wasn't working there at that time.
No.
All right. Then we got Tekken. Didn't see it. No.
I didn't know there was a Tekken movie, to be honest.
Hey, it's your. You should.
I mean, maybe I did. I just totally.
Does it have King? Does it have a guy with a leopard head in it?
You know, we should probably talk about the video games themselves more if we. Well, real quick, did you play Tomb Raider?
Yes, I was bad at it and didn't get very far.
Okay. And you said you played Resident Evil. You love the games.
I had played. Well, I shouldn't say I played all of them, but I played a lot of them until they started getting into like 5, 6, 7. I have not played.
And so yeah, who's your favorite Tekken character?
I have no idea. I barely play Tekken because Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter were better. I didn't like the Virtua Fighter Tekken fighting games. I like the other ones, especially I was more of a Capcom kid because, you know, my love of Mega Man. Anything Capcom did, they had great character designs. And then when you look at a Tekken, everything is so polygon. It looks like shit. So I was like, why would I play this game that has no blood, no fatalities, and no cool looking characters? So Tekken was not my bag.
Maybe it was just the timing that made Tekken my choice. I remember liking King. I don't know, it's just something about a human man with a leopard head was kind of cool looking, and I thought King was a cool name. Obviously, Eddie Gordo was my character of choice, who was your Brazilian capoeira fighter, because he was just the most stylistic, I feel like, in his combat, because you pretty much were just on your back doing swinging kicks the whole time, or handstand kicks, and it was the one character you could button mash and almost guarantee a win, just because he was so easy to use. Where everyone else, he kind of like had to have some style. But I think it's also the first, maybe only fighting game that I've ever really beaten the story mode too. I remember doing the challenges and fighting. I think his name was like Kagamusha or something, like whatever the old fucking guy who's in on like all the covers.
Sure.
Yeah. But then you beat him, and then he turns into like this weird chimera monster that you have to fight at the end too. I don't remember why, but yeah, I just remember that was one of the few games where I was like, I've played and actually beat every character in the game, because I almost never had people to come over and play one-on-one with me. So I actually that's another reason why I think I'm a story mode guy, is because I mean, I had friends, but no friends ever came over and wanted to play Tekken with me. So.
Sure.
Shut up, man.
When it came to Tekken, it was just like, what's the weirdest thing? Oh, there's a kangaroo. I'll play as the kangaroo. Oh, there's a bear. I'll play as the bear. There's a weird woodblock Pinocchio boy. I'll play as that guy. I don't care. Just
there's an alien who like sits on top of his sword and sits across the screen. Yeah. There's
Yoshimitsu.
I think Yoshimitsu. Yeah. There's a zombie guy. I think his name was Brian.
Brian the Zombie, classic.
There was Law, who was your Bruce Lee type, and there was Paul. Law and Paul were like the two main characters, but Paul was your American dude because he had the like kid and play,
or the Guile haircut,
blonde like flat top look, but he was also a biker or something. I don't know. It was all those video games just had stereotypes.
And like, what's the fighting style from that country? Okay, we're gonna take a Jamaican guy and we're gonna have him doing that thing, and he's gonna wear the Jamaican pants, and he's gonna have braids, and he'll be a DJ. And we'll call him DJ. That's from Street Fighter.
Oh, okay. Are you talking about Eddie Gordo? Got it.
So the next one is Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. This $336 million.
Nice.
37% on Rotten Tomatoes. This is 2010. this movie.
That Persian-looking Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, nothing is Persian like Jake Gyllenhaal.
Gemma Arterton, I believe, was the
Yep, yep. And what's his face who played? No,
right?
he played Koba in the Planet of the Apes movies.
Yeah, that guy.
And he played Kong.
Mhm.
Yeah. I like the Prince of Persia games. They're very hit and miss. Some of them are good, some of them aren't, and I couldn't tell you which ones are which because they're all so blended. They're all Sands of Time, Sands of Fate, and things like that. But they're really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I think I only ever played one, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty cool. The movie itself, I know I saw, but once again, it was one of those things that I just didn't care about. So I don't remember anything that happened in it.
I'd say it's in the top 5 best video game movie adaptations.
Which is sad.
Which is not saying much because like original Street Fighter may be in that top 5 as well. So then we got Resident Evil, Silent Hill sequel, blah.
Something about the horror genre. I think that's why those movies sustain is because no matter what, horror sells.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And they're so easy to make.
Yeah.
Then we got Need for Speed. Didn't see it. Don't play a lot of racing game.
It was okay.
Yeah.
It's not great. Definitely you can skip. But
if you like the Fast and Furious, you'd like this.
No, I wouldn't say that because I think Fast and Furious has a chemistry that you just can't quantify.
Okay.
Where I think this Need for Speed, I think just tried to be like an actual movie, but with racing in it. And I feel like I remember watching, going like, "Oh, this isn't that bad," but it's not that good either. It's very forgettable.
Yeah.
And I mainly say that because I've forgotten it. But
well, make 203 million.
I think that there is. I mean, it's actually Need for Speed only a name because Need for Speed was just I'm in a fancy looking car going fast.
Yeah.
There wasn't a storyline to it that I recall, but I wasn't a big racing game kid either.
It made $200 million?
I mean, this was also at the height of Aaron Paul, Breaking Bad. So I think might have been
helped, yeah.
That was a little bit of help.
Then we got Hitman 2 Agent 47. Didn't see this one because I didn't care for the first one. I hear it's pretty bad. Then 2016 we got Warcraft.
I wish I saw this movie, but I did not.
Yeah. And we said it earlier in the podcast, but human stuff looks like crap. The actors are bad. But all the orc stuff is pretty good. I find it funny that there's like one female orc, and of course it's played by a human, and it's just a sexy woman with big teeth, and all the male orcs are weird, horrible monster men, and then it's just like, nah, sexy orc lady. Maybe she's half orc, half human.
I think she's half.
Okay. But, yeah. Skip. You could skip it. It made $439 million. So just not bad. Probably not enough.
I mean, Warcraft was one of and may very well still be one of the biggest video games of all time.
Sure.
That has a worldwide appeal, so it makes sense that.
Yeah, I think it did really well in China.
Yeah, overseas, I imagine it could crush, and then in America, it probably just did okay at best.
And then we got Assassin's Creed. Have you seen Assassin's Creed?
I have not. When I saw the trailer initially, I was like, "Oh, this looks like it has potential."
Yeah.
Because some of the fight scenes they showed in the trailer looked pretty good, and actually showed them doing parkour and stuff.
Set to Kanye West.
Yeah. But then you get more into the trailer and you see the animus, and it's this thing that hooks into your back, and I could tell from the trailer that they were definitely taking some liberties, which is fine if they wanted to tell once again an original story. But then the reviews came out and were like, man, this is bad. So once again,
in like the Anubis stuff and not enough in the Assassin's Creed stuff.
Yeah. And I at least I love the Assassin's Creed franchise up until 4. I played all 4 of those and really loved all of them. So I was hopeful for an Assassin's Creed movie, but there's so much in Assassin's Creed that I think it would be hard to condense into one movie.
Unless it's just one assassination. It's one major assassination.
Yeah.
And maybe it goes wrong, and then they have to fight for their lives or whatever. But to do a huge story, not in a movie.
Or even if you did it in a way where, as an audience, yes, you would know that at the end, you realize that it's all a memory. But you could have done the entire movie set in the medieval times and have Altair was the main character of the first game, and then at the very end of the film, your character wakes up and it's like, oh, I'm in the future, of like, oh, I'm reliving my ancestors' past, and then you do future stuff in the sequel.
Sure.
Maybe that would be an easier way, but going
back. That's the twist of the first one, right? Or do you know that right when you start the game?
No, I think you find it, you jump in and out. So because you play the first level or mission or something, like it's been a long time since I played the very first Assassin's Creed game. But then you awake in a lab, and then Kristen Bell's there, and she explains what's going on, and then you have to jump back in. But
Kristen Bell in Assassin's
yeah, Kristen Bell was
Okay.
your main contact, and then the twist at the end of the first game, I think, you break out, and I think in the second game she dies in like the first hour of the game or something. Anyway, but when I bought Assassin's Creed, I didn't know that. So I was playing this game because I was like, oh, I get to be this medieval assassin, and I'm taking out, dudes in these castle forts and stuff. And then I wake up and I'm in the future, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't know any of that going in. So that was really exciting for me. And then I love that aspect of it, of past and future and everything. But in terms of that movie and the trailer, I thought it was like, oh, here's some potential. And then I'm like, I don't know about this choice. And then the reviews came out, like, okay, it's confirmed that once again, they have failed to craft a good video game movie.
Then we got the Resident Evil final chapter. Thank God it's done. That's actually what it's called, Resident Evil. Thank God it's done. And then we got the Tomb Raider reboot. This is our first reboot video game movie.
I did see this.
Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's
got the Goggins in it.
Yeah, you gotta love Wally Goggs. He's great in everything he does. Really watch The Shield and Righteous Gemstones.
Yep.
He's so good. And Justified, I guess he's really good in Justified.
I was gonna say, I think a lot of people know him from Justified, but go watch The Shield.
Yeah. It's fine. It's just some of the comedy is really bad, especially that end where she gets the guns and she points them both and like, I'll take both. Every movie ends with a cut to black and a guitar riff.
It's that sequel.
It's really cheesy, and it could have been better. And maybe Alicia Vikander's not the best, but she's fine.
She was fine, and
fine.
They definitely leaned more into the new video games that have come out. Yeah, and I love those video games. Yeah. The Tomb Raider trilogy of the 2010s or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you call that trilogy. Yeah. Are awesome. Yeah. I really like them.
Yeah. After that is Rampage. Made $428 million, but that's because The Rock is in it.
Yeah.
It's TBS a lot. It pops up and I'll just turn to it. And if it's a scene of destruction, it's a pretty fun watch. There's some really good fighting and monkey stuff. But when it comes to The Rock and his sidekick or the two siblings who are you laughing at monkey stuff?
Yeah, I was gonna make a mean joke, but cut that.
But when it comes to the brother and sister who are just like fiendishly laughing evil siblings, it's really ridiculous. But hey, crafting a story out of a game that is really nothing, just monsters, fighting buildings, they do a pretty good job.
Yeah, I just remember. I think we saw that movie. I know we saw the movie together. Yeah, some of the hand gesture jokes were just eye rolling, and
at the very end, like the alligator's like coming at him, and he's holding up a rocket launcher, and we were like, he needs to say "See you later, alligator," and then he just goes like, "Fuck you," and shoots him, and we look at each other like, "Come on, this is the most obvious. It's the worst, dumbest joke, but it's the only time you really get to say it."
Yeah. It was like
so disappointing.
It was like being a Hot Fuzz. It's like, oh, did you say something cool to him? It's like, no, but I said this later. Man,
no, hit him with the surfboard and said, "Surf's up."
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Watching that movie it's one of those movies that's fun to watch, even though it's bad. But it's one of those movies that once it got done, you're like, I think I could have written this film.
Yes,
or
absolutely.
Written it just slightly better.
That seems like a perfect This Meets That, where it was Godzilla or King Kong with some sort of mutation thing, and we just come up with a Rampage. After that,
later, Alex.
Right.
Yeah, damn it!
Taking it if he shot it and he died and he said, "After a while, crocodile," something.
No,
but just It's something really lame like that. It's not clever at all. Okay, after that, we have a movie called Dead Trigger. I'm gonna say it's a new Babel movie. I have no idea what.
Not even gonna look at it.
No, look it. There's a clickable link right here. I'm not touching it.
Nope, not gonna
pass it. So 2019, we have Detective Pikachu.
Saw it.
So yeah,
I liked it.
It was better than I expected.
Yeah,
but I don't love it. The plot is, the dude wants to turn everybody into Pokemon because he's in a wheelchair, and it's the next step of evolution or something.
Yeah,
so dumb.
There's some interesting choices to it. I think this is one of the. I don't want to say it was one of the first, but my fiance and I had like just started dating, and I was like, "Look, I'm gonna go see this movie. You can come if you want." She never really got into Pokemon or grew up on Pokemon. She was like, "No, I'll see it with you," and we both ended up kind of liking it, but she liked it because it was just like cute and fun and everything. But I'm watching, going like, "All right, well, there's no like." City-sized Pokemon, but obviously that was part of the plot, is they are genetically altering the things. Like, but how are you going to hide Pokemon that are the size of, 4 city blocks or mountains or whatever? It's like, oh, they just bury them. But it's like, there's going to be seismologists who feel like they're whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm just nitpicking a kid's movie, but yeah, how Detective Pikachu could talk. Yeah, worked story-wise enough, I guess, but I also didn't care. I wouldn't have much. I think I would have rather have seen a live adaptation of like, oh, here's a kid going on an adventure and becoming a Pokemon trainer and winning matches and getting a rival, and it's like that's how you launch your trilogy franchise. But that's also, I get why that didn't work, because then you're gonna have your whole franchise built around a 10-year-old, and
hey,
I mean, you could age him up. In the cartoons, that's easy to do, but kids are harder at it. It's like, oh, so do you make them teenagers? And I was like, well,
a simple story of him just like, can't wait to get my first badge, and meeting Brock and meeting Misty, or not them. It doesn't have to be Ash. It could be Red or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be okay with a brand new
brand new thing, and you have your Team Rocket characters, and he just has to go and fight his first gym battle, gets his first badge, has a big toss up with Team Rocket, and then it's like, well, I can't wait until I can fight the Elite Four, and that's all. That's what you need to do.
Or at the end of the movie, he some guy's like, "Hey kid, catch," and tosses him a Pokeball, and then it's like, "Oh, thanks, Mister." And he looks up, and it's Ash, and it's like, or you just see like Ash's hat, and you're like, "Oh shit, there's a sequel."
Yeah, this takes place after all the video games. Ash has grown up; he's part of the Elite Four or whatever, and this is the next generation. Yeah. This is Ash's son, for all we know. Who cares?
Who cares?
But the Detective Pikachu stuff, I don't think is great. I don't love Ryan Reynolds.
It'd be a girl. His name would be Ember.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
or Ashley.
Oh. Thought I had it.
This happens a lot. Oh. Steve says something good, and then I say something better.
Bastard.
I remember seeing when they released that it was going to be Ryan Reynolds doing the voice of Pikachu, that people were saying, get Kate Micucci. And I was like, damn, I could totally see her voice as Pikachu. That's horrible. Oh well, but we're stuck with it.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Reynolds wasn't as Ryan Reynolds-y in Pikachu that I remember. I thought it worked fine.
But there's still enough of his comedy in there, like him drinking the coffee and getting all crazy. Sure. That's just Ryan Reynolds.
He got out of the Pikachu body, so if they made a sequel, there wouldn't be a reason for him to be sucked back into.
No, it'll be his son will get sucked into that Pikachu, and now Ryan Reynolds has to deal with this detective who is now his son or something.
Sure.
Don't care. Next is Sonic the Hedgehog, which came out just a couple months later. It's fine. This is like a pure kids movie.
I hated this movie. There's so much blatant product placement that was used for jokes, and jokes made multiple times about this product placement. And I love Ben Schwartz with all my heart.
Yeah.
But I wish he wasn't in this movie.
It kind of taints him.
A little bit.
But I don't blame him. Get that franchise money.
Yeah, if he was Sonic on a cartoon show, like he was for. I think he's the voice of one of the Dewey from on DuckTales.
He was Leonardo.
Yeah, like make Ben Schwartz the blue guy, animated character, but him in this live action adaptation, I just felt bad because they were giving him material I don't think he could sell.
Yeah, the writing for this is what's the worst. And I love Jim Carrey, but and people are saying this is a return to form. Jim Carrey is back. No, he's just being obnoxious. And even though when I heard the casting, I thought that's unique, but I could see it. I could see him with the big belly and the crazy glasses. And then they went with this skinny, sleek version. I don't.
Well, in this sequel, he
gets the mustache.
He gets it a little bit. And it's cool to see Tails and Knuckles join the.
Sure.
But once again, nothing about the trailer made me go, "This looks better."
Yeah.
It just looks more of the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who cares?
It should have just been an animated film. There's no reason.
Yeah, and it's the thing that they always did in 80s movies, where it was like a crazy alien that crash lands on Earth. Okay, and they're in the desert. Of course it is. It's the human gets transported to the fantasy world, or I'm sorry, the fantasy person gets transported into the human world, so we don't have to shoot the crazy castles and the bogs and the things. No, we could just place it on Earth. You need it's Masters of the Universe. You put He-Man in our world because it's too expensive to go to Eternia. And it's the same thing. Like, well, we can't do a whole animated movie on this. Let's just put him in the real world and let him deal with all of our crazy stuff. And that's not interesting. This movie needed to take place all on what is it called? Emerald Hill or wherever he lives.
It's the same thing that they've been saying about the Transformers franchise. I don't like the Transformers franchise. I mean, I liked the first one. It was a big deal when it first came out, and then they just got progressively worse and worse and worse. And I stopped watching them, but I did check out Bumblebee because I heard decent things, and I was like, okay, it's something different. It's just about Bumblebee. Maybe it's all right, and it was. But I believe that's the movie that had like the opening 10 minutes was all on Cybertron, and it was fucking cool.
Yeah,
and I was like, 10 minutes in, I was like, this is the movie. Yeah, like do this, and then the rest just wasn't as good. And like Bumblebee's fine, but that's the problem. It's fine.
Yeah, it's just E.T.
If you made the War of Cybertron a movie, it could be incredible.
Yeah. Like, no, you got to give it a human counterpart so the kids can understand.
Because they looked like their 80s versions. You had this entire cast of characters. You had big epic space battles that you paid all this money to like animate for this 10-minute bit, but it's the best 10 minutes of your movie.
Yeah.
And then it's gone. It's like
such
we don't need this human shit.
Yeah.
Make us invested in these living robots. That's
how Sonic was, where he's racing, that some owl lady is trying to save him, and these crazy echidnas kill her, and like, okay, this is kind of fun. What's gonna happen? Oh, now he's on Earth eating chili dogs and watching exercise videos or whatever, being a creeper. Yeah, not a big fan, but I think it's a perfectly serviceable kids movie. I can see why kids would enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's just, it's Olive Garden, and when you're here, your family. Okay, after that, we have...
if you're bringing a smash or pass, there's like 2 movies on here that are smash so far.
Yeah, most of them are passes, for sure. Next one is Monster Hunter. I never played the Monster Hunter game.
Ooh, this trailer looked bad.
It's another Mila Jovovich, Paul W.S. Anderson movie.
Stop.
This has potential. There is stuff in this that I really like.
I will say that the monsters I thought looked good.
They do. And I think there's crazy world lore that could be interesting, but they just focus on the wrong aspects, and it's really heavily edited. It's potential, but it's another one of those things. Oh, okay, let's do Monster Hunter. Well, how do we explain this world? Let's get a military people, and then so we can have that person explain it to them. But that character is like a mute, or no, maybe he does speak a language, but they can't understand each other. So after her team dies, she's the only one left. He nurses her back, but she keeps trying to escape, and they need to be like working together and learn from each other, but they're just like bickering the whole time. And so you have this 30-minute section where this is why you have that fish out of water concept of someone from Earth in this monster world, but you don't even give them a character that can sit and talk to them. They speak a completely other language. So then what was the fucking point? Mm-hmm. And it's just dicking around until you get to flaming swords in a big monster fight. So it's disappointing, but it's not the worst thing I've seen. And there's definitely worse on here. Like this next movie, the Mortal Kombat remake.
Oof. I mean, I said this last week. I was like, I love our first episode, for better or worse. Mm-hmm. Just it's what started us in the podcasting thing for Space Jam. But I almost wish Mortal Kombat was our first episode because, oh boy, when we watched that together, I had a lot of thoughts and all of them were negative.
Pretty much. There's not a lot of positive. There's like a 5-minute montage where everybody gets to do their fatality. So you get like a lot of blood and guts in one chunk, but everybody's so obnoxious. How they do their powers is stupid and not even from the game. The cast is not very good. The special effects are not very good. There's nothing here. They don't even do a Mortal Kombat. They talk about a Mortal Kombat, and it's like Shang Tsung's all, oh, we're the best, and we've won 9 in a row, and this 10th one we're gonna take you down. But you know what? We probably should cheat anyways and try to kill these guys before we do a Mortal Kombat. And then the whole movie is about the cheating part and not the Mortal Kombat part. It's stupid, and it's just been confirmed we're getting a sequel, which is fine. That means we actually get to do a Mortal Kombat. But we've wasted some good characters.
Once again, opening 10 minutes, incredible.
Yeah,
everyone waiting for that. Oof.
And this was a movie that really made me want to start podcasting because for the next couple of weeks, I've just been kicking around this idea of, well, what would I do for a Mortal Kombat movie, and what characters would I set up, and I really got to write it down and do an episode on it because I think I have a pitch that's just really fun and it stays true, still being gory, but being a tournament-based fighting competition. It would work. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe when I think about it in my head, I'm just thinking of like the cool fatalities people would do. But I think I got some cool story beats here.
You start with a point, and from that point, it breaks off. So if the point is the fatalities, it's like, okay, this is where I'm jumping off, and then this is
an intro fatality that I thought of, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Add to this, and ooh, what about this? And then I just exploded, and so I have like part 1 kind of done in my head, and how part 2 should basically go. But that's about it.
But when you say part 1, part 2, you mean the first movie, the second movie, or
yes,
one?
First movie, second movie.
Got it.
Yeah. Movie. That and Mortal Kombat made 83 million. It did have a at-home release at the same time, so you can't fart it for that. But it made more. It made like twice as much as Monster Hunter, so that's something. So after that is Werewolves Within. I think I talked about it on the show, or maybe I forgot. No, I forgot to talk about it. But just I've never played this game, but directed by Josh Rubin, starring Milana Vaintrub and Sam Richardson, and it's snowy mountain town, and maybe there's a werewolf on the loose, and it could be any one of those, one of these people. I always thought this was based off the card game Werewolf or like Secret Hitler or whatever those are, but I guess there's a video game version as well.
Okay.
Oh, if you say so. But it's a fun little werewolf movie with some fun twists. It was a good time. But I think Josh Rubin's Scare Me is a better movie. Yeah. And then the last new release video game movie is Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, which is a good review. Awful, bad movie, just pure shit.
It was, what, number 3 or number 2 on your worst?
It
made the top 10, I know.
Yeah, hold on. I got my book right here. It was number 7. Yeah. So hey, Mortal Kombat didn't make my list, so I guess that's a pretty good movie compared to Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City.
I don't think Mortal Kombat made my list of worst of the year.
But you didn't see it, did you? Mortal Kombat. I thought you said Resident Evil. I'm sorry.
But I think it's just I must have
blanked it
or something. It's like I forgot that this was because
it's hard when you're going back like 8 months. Like, that came out. Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's why I like to keep extensive lists in multiple forms. Like I have my list of what I wrote and the dates and my ratings, and then I have like my IMDb list of things I watched, and then I have my letterbox things I watched.
So I don't know what was on my number 10 guys who listen to the best and worst of year list, but I imagine number 10 isn't as bad as Mortal Kombat, so put Mortal Kombat in that space, whatever that was.
All right. So that's all the video game movies that exist as of right now.
The live action.
The live action one.
Let's go to the animated real quick. We don't have to really talk about it.
Okay. Animated, Final Fantasy, Spirits Within, Ratchet and Clank, Angry Birds 2, Untitled Mario film. And that's it.
Well,
and then there's Japanese ones. And then,
yeah.
Pokemon the first movie. Pokemon movie 2000. Pokemon 3. Pokemon Forever. Pokemon Heroes. Pokemon Jirachi Wishmaker.
Okay, so these are
Pokemon Destiny Deoxys. Yeah, it's all Pokemon stuff.
So everything after Pokemon 2000 doesn't count because who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit?
But Pokemon 2000, not great, but I remember seeing it in theaters. Pokemon, the first movie, when that came out in theaters, oh boy, was I excited. I was 10 years old. Oh no, I was 9 or 10 years old. I think when that movie came out, it was at the peak of Pokemon's popularity. I was getting the cards. Still have the promo card that they gave out during that movie. I have
the Mew,
the ancient Mew. I have that card, and I still have the card that they gave out for Pokemon 2000, which was a Dragonite card, and it's got a little WB symbol, I think, in the corner. I can't remember, but yeah, Pokemon was a big deal. Those movies, do they hold up?
Doesn't Mewtwo like
some good stuff in there though?
But doesn't he has like some good speeches, and then he kills a bunch of people, and he's like a murderous bastard, and then he kind of goes, "Oh, okay, I guess friendship wins all," or something.
Yeah, he kills a bunch of scientists, then develops an island, goes to an island and develops this technology that clones Pokemon that are essentially evil versions of Pokemon. And his goal, I think, is to wipe out humanity's enslavement of Pokemon, which makes fucking sense. That's awesome. And then him and Mew fight because Mew's defending Pokemon. And then they accidentally kill Ash in an energy blast between each other.
Turns him into stone.
But it turns him into stone because you can't just have a dead body of a child on screen. It's got to be stone for whatever reason. And then Pikachu's tears and the other Pokemon's tears bring him back to life. And then Mewtwo's like, oh shit.
Power of love.
And they just kind of peace out. But yeah, Mewtwo was fucking badass in the movie. And they gave him lines and in character. Like, the first Pokemon movie is solid. It's for a kids movie that doesn't really care too much about plot. Yeah, there's elements to it.
So here are the video game adaptations that will be coming up in the future. Most of them don't have dates. Uncharted is next, February 18th. Yeah, it's gonna be a big turd. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, also a turd. This says Untitled Crossfire film. I don't remember a video game called Crossfire. I remember a board game called Crossfire where you shoot little BBs at each other. Crossfire, you got up in the crossfire, crossfire. You'll have to look it up.
Yeah, that was great though.
No, I'm cutting all that.
I loved it.
I don't like my singing voice on record. I've dealt with this annoying droning sort of voice normally.
Okay.
But my singing, oof. Yeesh. So we got a Five Nights at Freddy's movie coming out. Gears of War.
Gears of War could be okay.
Yeah, I think that could be fun.
I feel like it'd be easy to mess up. It'd be real expensive to make too, to do it right.
Probably. Ghost of Tsushima. Great game. I don't know if I want to see it as a show or a movie. I don't think it would be all that interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what direction they take. Do they make it English language? I mean, it's not I think if they were smart, they would make it a genuine, kind of lean into the Akira Kurosawa.
Yeah.
Make it a Japanese film
with subtitles.
With subtitles, yeah.
Oh. Yeah. So you're telling them they should make less money.
Well, that's the thing. I know it would make them less money, but I think it would be a better film for it. But I could be wrong.
Yeah. Just Cause, which I tried to play Just Cause 4 and it was a bad game. Yeah, but I like the idea of the wingsuit and your little zip line. That makes for some great action stuff.
I think that would have been if Far Cry took off or U-Bowl, Just Cause would be the next
Mhm.
franchise he would make.
He would.
Yeah, because there's some fun action stuff to that game, but the game itself is pretty fucking dumb.
No, no fan. Just Dance.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be like a Save the Last Dance sort of.
I think these are properties that are owned. I don't really believe that a lot of these are getting made.
Hey, they said they've been trying to make a Tetris movie for years now, which I want to get back to.
Yeah, pitch me that Tetris movie.
I will. Um, all right, and then apparently there's a Mega Man and a Minecraft thing in the works. Okay, I mean they already made Astro Boy, and that's pretty much a Mega Man story.
Yeah, I'm Mega Man. God, I hope it would be animated.
Oh, please do not live action Mega
Yeah,
Man.
you can't live action or don't do that live action hybrid shit.
Mm.
Like with Sonic, just go animated.
Yeah,
What was the thing you said after that?
Minecraft.
Oh, Minecraft. Yeah, Rob McElhenney was supposed to direct that. Yeah,
And
he only recently dropped out.
I don't understand what the plot of Minecraft is. I thought it was just like a fun. It's like making a movie based on The Sims. You know, you're creating your own thing. There's no real plot to Minecraft, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's characters like Steve
And is it going to look like the game? Because it's so ugly.
my guess is it would start like it'd be one of those page master things or something, or not page master. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it'd probably start as that and then somehow evolve, or like, oh, I'm a human and I'm playing the game. Oh, I'm getting sucked in, and it looks
So it's just
shinier.
a dude in a blue shirt with a pickaxe and he's like, "Hi, I'm Minecraft Steve," and he's not all pixelated.
That's my guess. I would hope it'd be animated, but just nicer looking.
Okay.
But also, I don't care about this movie at all.
No,
I'm playing Minecraft.
But it's lose-lose. You make it realistic so it doesn't look ugly. People go, "This isn't Minecraft." You make it look exactly like Minecraft, and people go, "This is really ugly. I don't want to watch this." So that's a lose-lose.
Well, it's for kids. That's what it really is.
Okay.
We'll get them in the seats, take their parents' money, and then who cares if it's any good?
We have the Untitled Metal Gear Solid movie.
That's another game that I think if I played now I could get into it, but I missed it when it was at like its peak.
I was bad, so bad at it.
Yeah, I didn't appreciate stealth when I was a kid. I just wanted to go in and shoot and fight stuff.
Yep.
So stealth was not anything I aspired to do. So that was a turn off for me. But watching my friends play some stuff, I was like, God damn, this game is impressive. Like that game was way ahead of its time.
Oh, if you hide under your bed, the patrolman will think you got out of your prison cell, and then he'll come in and you can attack him. Or you could put ketchup on you and make him think you're bleeding, and he'll come in and get you. It's like there was different ways you could approach different problems in the game, and it was just very creative.
The only I don't think you could really. I mean, maybe you could, because I'm not an expert on in the Metal Gear lore, but there's a lot of it. Definitely leans into that Japanese anime shit where eventually it just gets more and more ridiculous, and more cutscenes and long dialogue backstories. I'm just like, who fucking cares, bro? But I think it's the fourth game where they where Snake is older and it's just you and your arch rival, and it's just the final boss essentially is just a hand-to-hand combat fighting, and it's incredible and looks incredible. Like the whole with the music and like I said, it's just a fist fight between two old guys, and it's badass.
It won't get any weirder than the first Metal Gear. I think we'll have like our Psycho Mantis, and we'll have the big robot Metal Gear as your final thing. But when you start getting into Raiden and nanosuit technology, I think we won't do that. This should be a little more grounded. You take this is your Ethan Hunt, Jason Bourne type character, but he's just more of a military man. He's your Snake Plissken, really.
Yeah.
And
Snake.
They got to do that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
They have to. But if you play this as realistic as possible, but still use the really over-the-top characters, I think this could be a really fun movie.
Yeah, it definitely has potential. I mean, I think it's been the movie they've been trying to adapt the longest and just can't find the medium to where they're like, okay, this is how we do it. As big as television shows have become, I think that might be the easiest route now to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it would require, I think, a pretty solid budget for what it is, and I don't know. It'd be a risk either way because either you lean into the craziness of it, or you try and simplify it, which maybe lessens the game aspect of it. I don't know.
So we're looking, and Oscar Isaac is supposed to be Snake, so we'll see.
That guy's in everything.
Next, Mortal Kombat 2. Yeah, we're getting it. Untitled Portal film. I think this could be fun because that is a really well written game, and so I can see a really funny kind of buddy puzzle solving thing, and especially you only have like one character in this whole thing. It can be made for real cheap, but if you have good voiceover work for the robots, this can be a real fun, almost exercise in visual effects. If you especially if you have someone who's an up and comer, like a Neil Blomkamp before he got to do District 9, would have probably been good for this because he did a lot of smaller special effect reels, and seems like the perfect venue for someone to just kind of show off and, oh, you think you're creative? Look at the things I will do with that. But I never played Portal, so I don't.
Neither did I. If it showed up on the PlayStation Store for a couple bucks, I'd pick it up, but I'm not going out of my way to play Portal.
Once again, first person, don't care. But I do think it's a very creative game.
Yeah, for sure.
Rabbids, an Untitled Rabbids film. They'll just be the new Minions.
Yeah, pass.
Space Invaders.
Pass.
Who cares? It's an alien invasion movie. Yeah. We've seen it. Another Tomb Raider called Tomb Raider Obsidian. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
We'll see what it is. Saints Row. Because it's the weird GTA. It's like, oh, you could do all these crazy things in it, and the mayor is an alien or something.
Well, the first Saints Row game was just a GTA ripoff. Like, I remember playing Saints Row, and the gang aspect of it was fun. Like, what you liked about San Andreas was what Saints Row was, and like taking over territories, and you're part of the Purple Dragons or whatever the name of your crew was. Like, there was some fun stuff without it being ridiculous. And then they were like, okay, well, we're not going to compete with GTA, so we'll make it GTA, but with crazy shit.
Look, I got a crazy dildo I could beat you with.
Yeah, I don't need to see that version of it.
Yeah. And then a Untitled Yakuza movie.
I didn't play Yakuza.
Yeah.
I reviewed Sleeping Dogs on the podcast, and I think that could be a cool movie or TV show, whatever. If it's anything like that, I could be into Yakuza.
Okay.
But once again, I don't really know anything about Yakuza.
So before I pitch you Tetris, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
So The Rock has come out and said, I'm doing a video game movie. It was a big hit, and I can't say what it is, but it's going to blow everyone's mind. What do you think it is? What movie is he making?
Well, first, I think The Rock is overselling whatever project he's part of, because
Paperboy. The big rock on a bike, chucking those papers as hard as he can.
That's why they go through the window.
The old lady's like, flying through a couple neighbors' fence.
Oh man, give me that. I'd see that. Oh, that'd be funny. So you asked me this last week.
Did I? On the pod?
No, on the pod.
Okay.
Or we were just kind of riffing.
Yes.
But we didn't really do like a deep talk about it. When you said that, my initial thought was, well, who else would play Kratos but The Rock?
God, there was a guy at my work, we were talking about this, and he's like, you can't have The Rock play Kratos. I'm like, why not? He's like, because Kratos' skin is white, and The Rock is like super dark, and you can't do that. And I was like, well, for one thing, Kratos' skin is dark, and it's white because it's the ash of his wife and daughter on him. And he's just kind of like, okay. Like, you don't know what the fucking character is. He's not a Caucasian man.
Zoe Saldana can't play Gamora. Her her skin is green.
Yeah. It's so stupid. In fact,
what are you talking about?
It doesn't matter. Kratos isn't white because he's a Caucasian dude. It's like, isn't he? Greek. Oh, I guess Greeks are considered Caucasian white, but they're dark-skinned people. Fucking this dude, he's like so racist and racist and homophobic and stuff. It's like when It came out, and he was just like, they fucking made Richie into a gay guy. That's not in the book. And then those 2 gay guys get killed at the beginning, and it's like, why they got to push their agenda on us? And I was like, actually, those gay guys are in the book. That happened. Okay. Well, if it happens in the book, that's fine. But Richie's not gay in the book. And I was like, why do they all have to be straight? Can't you identify with the 6 other boys in one way or another? Why does this one have to be straight too? Well, just that's how it was written, and that's how it should be presented. It's like, can you not aspire to have a little bit more from your characters than just another white kid? So and he does that for everything. It's just like, no, you can't have Kingpin be a black guy. Blah blah blah. I understand that because the Kingpin's supposed to be the man, and the man is white. Okay, I get it. Whatever. They just wanted a big dude for that movie. But he'll complain about anything. If it's a social justice thing that's being shoved down our throats, it's like, no, they just made that character gay, and it adds nothing except for representation for other gay people out there. Is there not enough movies in the world that represent your straight white, ideal of the world?
I agree with him.
Faggots. Come on. Whitey's forever.
Oh god.
So The
Rock. Yeah. I would think that Kratos would be the obvious choice, especially because the most recent God of War was one of the greatest games I've ever played, and I think Ragnarok coming out this year, which is my most anticipated game of the year. I can't wait to play it. It could be an easy, this is coming out. Well, before you buy this, aren't you excited to hear that The Rock is going to play him? Which, if you ask me who should play Kratos, I don't know anyone else but The Rock who can play him.
I'd rather see Dave Bautista. If we're going big wrestler meathead guy, I think Dave Bautista could bring the pathos to it.
I haven't seen The Rock take on as dramatic a role as Kratos, because he's always been like the family, like even when he's like dropping F-bombs and all that kind of stuff, he's still kind of the guy you root for in the family friendly version, where Kratos is not a good person and he is just murdering people in the most brutal ways, and it's awesome. But I don't know if The Rock can deliver that gravitas, especially this version that the 4th game brought. But yeah, I think Batista's probably a better actor, but I think Rock probably has more of the look of him. But I think you pitched me Gears of War.
Yeah,
which I could also see.
I've never played Gears of War, but they are all like little fridges of men. They're just as big as a washer dryer combo, and so is The Rock. And if anybody can pick up a huge gun with a chainsaw at the end,
the only reason I don't necessarily care to see The Rock in that is just he did Doom, and Gears of War is so similar to Doom, essentially.
And Dave Bautista looks more like that, maybe.
Put Bautista in that, put The Rock in God of War.
Yeah.
Other than that, like, I think you told me that people online are saying maybe something from Call of Duty or whatever. I don't care about that. Like, every dude who plays Call of Duty doesn't play Call of Duty for the storyline and characters. They just want to beat their friends at the shooting game. Like, there's great storylines in Call of Duty franchises, but no one gives a shit about them. Like, I'm the only person who enjoyed playing those story modes because my friends had no desire to. So I did. Like, a Call of Duty game means nothing.
No.
It's just like, that thing I play, they did a movie, maybe I'll go check it out. But all those dudes who are going to pay to see it aren't going to like it.
Yeah.
Which I know the studio probably doesn't care because they're going to pay to see it regardless. But it means nothing, essentially. And that's, if you're going to go that route, it's a shame. So my pick is Kratos, but I just don't know if I want to see him as Kratos.
Yeah. My pick is because he also said this was a game that he played a lot, and I'm assuming it was in his high school and college days, because I'm sure he just played a lot of football and didn't do a lot of class stuff. I can see him playing a lot of video games, because The Rock right now is too busy to do anything besides interviews and work out and keep shooting more movies. So I am betting that this is going to be a classic Nintendo or Sega, Super Nintendo era game. I'm putting my money on Contra. Not that Contra is like some huge franchise that everybody knows, but I think it's still a classic enough game that people know that word and they associate it more with the video game than any sort of real world wartime term. And it's kind of perfect because it's just guys shooting aliens and it's red guy and blue guy. So, you make The Rock the red guy, and then you could have this whole campaign of who's going to be his blue guy. Who do you want to see The Rock fight with? Oh, is it Jason Momoa? Is it Jason Statham? Is it Jason Sudeikis? Jason Alexander? Any Jason can play this role. I would love to see The Rock and Jason Alexander. That should be the Twins reboot.
Yep, there you go.
There you go. He's doing Twins, but it's also Contra. We're twins and we looked at the like. Oh, there's aliens coming. So yeah, that's my pitch. It's going to be Contra, and you could do all as long as you could nail the cool gun with the cool ammo and really get that spread, that rapid, that flamethrower. You can make a very cool, probably about the same quality as Rampage, but cool enough.
Yeah, I mean, once again, Contra just sounds like Doom and Gears of War, but it's just dudes shooting aliens.
Sure, but they're like weird techno aliens, like they're monstrous, but they got technology. It's kind of like Virus. Did I ever make you watch Virus with Jamie Lee Curtis? Oh, no. It's so bad. Oh, move.
I've seen it on your shelf a bunch.
That's a make me watch that I know you would hate, and it's a bad movie, but I love that movie. But it's a lot like that, where it's just like a hulking zombie thing, but it's got weird tech on it as well. They always have these weird fortresses with weird tanks. I just think visually it could be a really fun movie, and I have nothing to base that this is what it is, but that's my pick.
Yeah, it's hard for me to imagine The Rock playing a video game since like 1997.
Yeah, absolutely.
But maybe he low-key has, when he's not working out, he spends an hour a day playing something new.
He plays Bust a Move or something. Bubble Bobble.
Parappa Rapper.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he's going to play the little dog. Yeah. Punch. It's all in the rhyme.
Well, we'll see. I'm sure whatever it is will be mediocre.
Yeah, it'll be like, oh, yeah, I remember that.
Cool.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll cut this part because, I mean, we're already at 2 hours and 44 minutes, but when they announced Tetris the video game, I instantly said, okay, what is that? How can you make Tetris, I called it Tetris the video game, make Tetris into a movie? How do you turn that into a story? So here's my pitch for how to make Tetris a real thing. It's going to be like a NASA sort of government facility, and they're getting weird code. They're like reaching out into space to measure, look, listen, and they're getting this weird code that's coming through, and it is in like sets of 4, because like all the Tetris pieces are 4 cubes depending on shape. They're, the T, the L, the block, the length, and they're just these blocks of information is coming through, and they're making these weird patterns, and they don't know what it is, but they figure out that they're able to kind of manipulate this code and move it around, and when certain code is lined up with other code, it disappears, because they are worried that if they do not keep making this code disappear and it reaches the top, it kind of opens a portal for these aliens to come through.
So it's the hatch from Lost. If you don't thing every 120.
And so like the alien, they're getting frustrated with this, so they're sending the code faster and faster, and the people have to get better and better at clearing these lines of code and keeping it open. And then at the end, boom, the Stargate opens and out comes whatever. I don't know, the Tetrinos. And that's like that you build whatever story you want, but that's how you work Tetris into it. It's lines of code that you have to constantly keep eliminating, otherwise it will shut down something and open up something or something.
No, I hate it. Fuck off.
Okay, go.
I don't like it at all. That makes zero sense to me.
Okay.
I appreciate the effort. I imagine that is something like if there's a writer's room, that's something someone would pitch and go, okay, I can see what the semblance of the beginning of the story is for that. But no.
And it could be, and since it's from a Russian game designer, and there's a Russian theme to that main menu screen, what it could be Russia trying to hack us and trying to get into our thing, and the whole act of stopping a hack is like the game of Tetris. And if they fill the screen, they get a control of our nukes. Something. It's not as good as our Hungry Hungry Hippos movie, but we'll save that for another day because that's a pretty great pitch. Well, that's kind of it.
Is there? Well, before we wrap up, is there a game that you would like to see adapted? Or I mean, we can talk about video game TV shows because those are actually there's been some success there.
We got our Arcanes and we got our Witchers.
Last of Us hopefully will be
hopefully. I can't see it being bad.
I can't see it being bad. I can see it being not great though.
I can't see that. I think it's going to be amazing. And maybe this is me hyping myself up for disappointment, but it's going to be one of the best things of all time.
Always hit a slam dunk.
Sure, but they're putting a ton of money into it.
Yeah, but money doesn't always equal.
Yeah, but I think that's because they have faith.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't mean to sound skeptical. HBO has granted me many of my favorite shows, and if there's one network I would trust with a property to make a TV show, it would be HBO. So I am looking forward to it. I am excited. I am just staying cautiously pessimistic because I don't want to be disappointed because The Last of Us is my favorite video game franchise of all time.
Yeah.
So if it is dog shit, I'm going to be very sad. But I will still probably watch every episode and be like, oh, damn it.
I've been kind of lucky with like some of my favorite things do get adaptations. I love Resident Evil, so I got those movies. Just unfortunately, they're not very good. I love Mega Man very much. I want to see some sort of adaptation. I think I'd even just take like a Saturday morning cartoon show more than something deep and dark and gritty and I mean, I know they had a Saturday morning cartoon show, but it was really stupid. But take it serious, and it has good animation. That's a monster of the week show of anything. I'm Mega Man, and now that I have the bubble power, I can go fight Flame Man. And then you go through Flame Man's level, and you beat it. And now that I defeated Flame Man, I can defeat Bomb Man, or whoever it is. So yeah, I'd like to see that. I don't know. I don't think there's really there's more classic games like Nightmare Creatures that I would love to see get remade as modern games before I see them get made into a movie. I'm gonna go with The Adventures of Dino Ricky. You?
Yeah, I guess what I'd like to see the most is God of War, but I also that's a game franchise that I love the most that hasn't like if I was gonna pick something it would be Uncharted, but since that's already a thing, I won't include that. But God of War, especially the first three games, are so ridiculous. I don't think you could really do them live action. And the fourth one is a bit more grounded to where you maybe could, but I don't think you could do it without doing the first three. So
and they're so cinematic anyways.
Yeah.
Do you really need to see it as a movie? It looks so good.
Like if you're gonna do it, I think it'd be as a Netflix anime, kind of like Castlevania.
Yeah. Oh yeah, God of War animated.
I think that could be awesome. But if we're just talking straight live action movie or maybe even TV show, I
wouldn't mind seeing Metroid or Metroid would be cool.
Yeah. I gave my nephew like all my PlayStation games to play. So I mean, I think Red Dead could be a pretty cool series, but I think people have there hadn't been a lot of great westerns in a long time. I don't know if that genre is just kind of
I think
beating
the genre is dead, and it works best in a video game because we don't get cowboy video games. So when you do it really great, it's fun to play. But you translate that, it's like, okay, this is just another AMC show that
Deadwood
on wheels.
Deadwood did it the best, but I don't know. I don't think there's any franchise that I'd be super excited for.
There's one that's just like, I'm going to get home and it's be like, you have a great pitch for this one too. Why didn't you say that? Yeah.
Monopoly.
Monopoly, the video game, the movie. Yeah. Not Monopoly, the board game turned into a movie. No. No. Okay, well, I think that's it for this episode. Episode 24. Thanks, everyone, for still tuning in and listening to us ramble for...
This week is our 25th anniversary episode.
Yeah, we do one a year. Ooh, 25. And it's another dead week until we get to see Uncharted.
Well, tune in next week. I think we'll be talking about Jackass forever.
Yes. Oh, God. I'm going to have to take notes during that. Because there's no way I'm going to remember every dumb thing that they do.
We should see it together if we can.
Okay.
I mean, I'll let you know that Sunday, but let's shoot for like Sunday noonish.
Sure. And if we can't do it for some reason, we'll do a make me watch, because then we could do that on our own free time.
Sounds good.
But once again, thanks for tuning in and listening to all of our stuff, our jibba jab.
That was a lot.
Yeah. And there's a whole lot of like, and this movie, you see that? Nope. All right, moving on. You see this one? Nope.
We really should have structured this episode a little bit.
It was last minute.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to talk about all the video game movies. Like, I could have a whole episode of Silent Hill. I would just need to rewatch it. I could do a whole episode of Mario Brothers. I just have to rewatch it.
Yeah.
But this was just a nice sort of like, these are things I remember.
Look at the 30 years of dog shit.
Yeah. There's about 3 that are A-okay. But, so if you'd like to get in contact with us, our email is WRPLpodcast@gmail.com, or hit us up on Twitter @WRPLpodcast. Got any suggestions for us?
Video games you want to see?
What do you think The Rock is making?
What do you think The Rock is making?
What's your Tetris pitch? Is it better than mine?
Do you not call him The Rock anymore? Are you straight a Dwayne Johnson person?
Oh, no.
Let us know.
No, he's The Rock. He's The Rock forever. He's just The Rock. And that's fine. And it doesn't even do it in his own song. His you know how he has that song?
Oh, he does have that song, yeah.
I think
I've honestly only heard like 10 seconds of the song.
I've only heard like
power.
Yeah, I've heard that part, and that's it. I don't know how it starts. I don't know how it ends. I just know the part that people put in TikToks and do funny dances to.
Yeah.
All right, well, get in contact with us and meet us back here in a week or so. I'm Ben.
And I'm Steve.
Good night, everybody.